Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're live from the Los Angeles Convention Center for Day 2 of E3 2017. My name is Bill Jump Carter, and I am the resident Sherpa here to guide you throughout all of today's action. We're here at the E3 Esports Zone, powered by ESL, and I'm joined by some fantastic gentlemen. We've got John 04 Hill, Esports Manager for Quake Champions, and we're here with the studio director, Mr. Tim Willits. How are you guys doing today?
Great. You know, we're really excited to be here. Quake Champions, we love the game. We're excited to have a day-long event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, esports is really dear to my heart, so it's really awesome to see these top players coming here and playing the game.
And there's a lot of esports action to be had. You can take a look at the schedule. We're going to have developers, we're going to have pro players, we're going to have audience members coming in and getting to not only try out the game, but to try out the awesome competitive game modes that we have at hand. And with those competitive game modes, the first game mode that we're actually going to be covering is the 1v1 duel mode. Now, do you want to go over the 1v1 duel mode a little bit with us?
Absolutely. So the duel mode has changed a little bit in Quake Champions. We've incorporated champions into the mix. And with that, we have a snake draft where you and your opponent will choose champions one at a time until you have a total of 3 champions. From there, it's pure elimination. Once your 3 champions are destroyed, it's over, and you go on to the next round. Best 2 out of 3 rounds wins the match.
It's absolutely just heart-throbbing, the instantaneous decisions that you have to make, being able to bounce around the map and use the versatility of the weapons as well as the balancing of the champions at your disposal. Now, talk us through this. Obviously, Quake Champions is a huge difference from the original Quake. How are you guys able to integrate this balance and this real esportsy feel into the duel mode specifically?
Yeah, so Quake Champions really is, you know, the pure skill-based multiplayer arena shooter. And, you know, we've taken lessons learned from 21 years of Quake and applied it to this game. Now, specifically in Duel, what we wanted to do is add in the abilities with champions to add depth and strategy to the game. So you're going to see a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking about the game. But again, it's still that skill-based player that may ultimately win.
It's definitely exciting, and you guys can get on in the action as well. Like we said, the audience members are going to get some opportunities to come on stage and play against some of the pro players that have donated their time to show up and really just give you that pure experience. But we've also got the beta open for Quake Champions right now. You can go to quake.com to sign up for that beta. If you're here at E3, we do have a desk over there where you can sign up and get involved. It's a great opportunity for you guys to have that. We're going to have shirts, we're going to have giveaways, we're going to have all kinds of excitement across the board for Day 2 of E3 2017. But let's go ahead, let's get right into it. We're going to kick it to our casters. Guys, let's say hello.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the E3 Esports Zone, powered by ESL. My name is Blue, and I'm joined here by Victor, otherwise known as Machiavelli. How are you doing? Welcome back, and welcome Quake back to the stage here at Esports.
I'm doing great, man. I'm so excited to be here, see all these great matches, great players. It's a new Quake. It's just a lot of fun to be here, and I'm expecting to see some great action, some great frags today, that's for sure.
And as we talked about before, we are going to be starting things off with the classic Quake mode. It's going to be Duel 1v1, the ultimate test of skill, isn't that right?
Absolutely. As a former duelist myself, I can tell you there is no greater challenge in terms of individual skill than to climb the ladder in Quake Duel. There's just so much to this game, and I encourage anybody to try it. If they think they're good at first-person shooters, they should give it a shot.
Absolutely, absolutely, of course, especially with the Quake World Championship going to be coming up over the coming weeks, and we'll be giving more and more details on that throughout the way. As it was already announced, the $1 million prize, but we'll have more on that later, as we do have our first matches getting ready to start here, and we have some Quake legends themselves on the stage from all across North America today that are going to be trying to face off in a couple of show matches, and we are going to be starting off with Rafa, the current, I believe, QuakeCon champion, taking on ID. Tell us a little bit about these two players and their histories in Quake.
Well, both of these players have been playing Quake for quite some time. Rafa, as you just mentioned, is the QuakeCon champion. I've played matches, team games with both of these guys, and they're just top-notch. You know, to kind of give you an idea, you're going to see some of the highest level play in the world right now. So Rafa, to me, is kind of like the quintessential complete Quake player. I mean, he really does make proper decisions, and it's shows that this game really matters, that the mental aspect really matters in this game, and that's how you're going to pull it out. ID, no slouch, also just talented Quake player. I know he's going to give Shane a good run for his money today, that's for sure.
I mean, at a first glance, right, when you're looking at Duel, you may just think, oh, it's just straight up 1v1 trying to fight each other, and it's just whoever can shoot better wins it. But there's so much more to the game mode than just that. You have to control the map and not only be able to outbrag your opponent, you have to be able to control the spawns of the important weapons, the power-ups as well, the armor power-ups, the health power-ups, everything across the map that does spawn its way in there. You need to make sure that you keep control of all of that while also reading into what your opponent is trying to take control of and eventually looking to lock him down and outfrag him.
Yes, I mean, you really got to get into the mind of your opponent. Being able to know where they are, where they're going, why they're going there is a critical aspect of being good at Duel. Listening to those sound cues, knowing when they picked up that armor. Even if you don't grab items, the good player will know when their opponent even picked it up, even though they're not there on that part of the map. These little micro decisions that you make throughout a duel will determine who's the winner and who's the loser.
And there's so much more mechanical skill that ends up going into it too. You have to master all of these different weapons and the capabilities. You have to learn when to play which weapon, things like that, and then be able to move around the map at such a high speed as well, mastering the skill of movement in the game. There's just so much that goes into it, and it feels so satisfying at the end of the day when you get that kill.
Yes, absolutely. Nothing more satisfying than a highlight reel frag. When you launch somebody in the air and you maybe take them out of the air with another rocket or a rail combo. It's really exciting, and like I said, it really brings everything together. Like you said, the movement and the mind game of it. So it really, like I said, it's ultimate test of skill. It's the ultimate test of skill.
Well, it's looking like we're getting into the draft now. This is what is new coming into Quake Champions. We have each of our players that are going to pick 3 respective champions to be able to play out here. Now, they can use them each once per round, but once they die, they're out for that round, and they have to wait for the next round to use it again. The first player to eliminate his opponent's roster of 3 champions will win that round, and the first to 2 will win the match.
Yes. So it's very interesting to see how these guys play out with their champion picks, which ones they go with first, second. I'm curious to see what kind of strategies we see today, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. Obviously, we've been watching Rafa and some of the others. They've been streaming quite a bit, and they've been getting themselves ready for the game and the weekends that it's been up. And the game is actually up all the time now. So if you want to jump into it, you can go ahead and do that over at Quake.com. You can register for the beta right now and get yourself into the match and try to get yourself to the level that these guys, I'm sure, are already at. Just way up there and basically already in the pro division to a certain degree there.
Hey, I can tell you, if I wasn't busy here, I'd probably be online playing Quake right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see right on the camera there, it's Rafa himself getting warmed up, getting ready to start this match as the players load in. It is looking like we are live now, so let's jump into it. We're going to be starting off on a classic Quake.
Yeah, right away, both players are just going to kind of get their initial stack going. And, just the beginning game's kind of linear. Most guys starting on their own side of the map. Oh, man, they're getting action quick.
Already trying to go for it, as we did manage to see Rafa be able to move in. He gets himself the railgun, but he took quite a bit of damage in the process, so he needs to bail out of there, get himself refilled with a little bit of armor and health if he can, and try to take a better position to take up that next duel.
Yeah, he did a smart move backing off there. Positioning is a huge aspect of Quake, so knowing when to engage as well is critical.
Being able to spot him, but Rafa's going to try to remain sneaky. As you can see, fires off the rockets, looks to anticipate his opponent coming through the portal below, which would lead to that position he was shooting at. It doesn't seem like he finds it at all. Almost gets hit directly by the rail shot there. Barely dodges out of the way, but now looks to take the fight as they find themselves fighting for control over the rockets, both being equipped with it. Again, it seems like ID is trying to take this duel a little bit too cautiously, but he gets pinned to the wall. So the first frag does end up going over to Rafa.
Yeah, that was a great finish. I thought maybe ID was a little too aggressive there, going up that pad and continuing that engagement. I thought maybe he should have thought about disengaging there.
Well, ID is now on to his second champion now as he goes over towards Scalebearer. This is a much more tanky champion, and it has that rush ability, which can charge directly into an opponent and deal massive damage if it's positioned properly.
Yeah, I think a tank as a second pick is a smart thing to do. It kind of limits your opponent's ability to really spawn rush you because they start with such a significant stack, so it can definitely help defending you against the spawn rate.
The amount of control that Rafa seems to have right now, though, over the entire map. As you saw a few seconds ago, he managed to pick up that tank medal, and that means he controls both the mega armor as well as, or excuse me, the mega health as well as the full armor as well. But again, fighting right over for control of those rockets. ID almost finds himself dead for a second time there as he's brought down to just 50 HP, but Thankfully, at the end of the day, Rafa also bails out from that fight and he gets to survive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think Rafa took a conservative play there, not risking a death. I think both of them were low, and he decided to disengage.
Attempt to re-engage there as he does off a little bit more damage, essentially just keeping ID at the same point of health for the entire time he's been alive here on this scale bearer so far. Now moving around, he's got himself a pretty decent kit stacked up, just needs that little bit of extra armor. It's the only thing he'd be missing. This is the opportunity to hit off a shot against Rafa though, and again finds himself bailing out of the fight.
Yeah, he's really got to be careful here. He's rebuilding the stack. Rafa kind of has him a little bit on the ropes in regards to his map control right now, so he needs to be cautious and just try to get one of those major items.
A little bit of a rail battle here. It's another shot hit from Rafa. He tries to push ID back. He's actually lucky to survive that, and once again, Rafa ends up with full control. A second rail shot hitting here now. ID lucky to be alive at this point, as he's going to dive in and just go directly for the fight, try to finish it off. Rafa succeeds in picking up the second kill. Just one more remains. Be able to eliminate ID on this round and take him out and claim his first of 2 rounds needed to win the map.
Yeah, some good railing right there. Got his opponent low and went in for the finish. That's what it's all about.
Now, Rafa just going to take things nice and slowly here to see if he can snipe off a little bit of damage. ID has switched over to the new champion that was recently just added in the update, BJ Blazkowicz from the Wolfenstein era has joined the roster here in Quake now, and he brings with him a very powerful ability, as you just saw it used there. And he's going to be able to move in, and look at that. The double gauntlet moving out. Saves ID as he finally picks up a kill.
That was really clutch there. He needed to pull something off. He was on the ropes for sure.
A little bit of humiliation for Rafa, but ID still has a long way to fight to get himself back into this match. He's continuing the fight though, and now he's got that second kill. It's all of a sudden just been brought down to a 1 versus 1 to try and control this first round.
It's a great swing of momentum here. This just shows you how quickly things can turn in a duel. You make a mistake here or there, and now next thing you know, your opponent's all over you.
Now with this going down to just the 1v1 here, both of our players having only 1 champion remaining. The next kill is going to end up winning it out. No, there we go. They try to take the duel. He's have to be a little bit cautious here going against Rafa. Has good control. And he also has Visor, which has essentially just a built-in wall hack ability there as his main active to try and utilize against ID to finish him off. But now moving into it here, they're going to find themselves in another fight as Rafa continues to be very aggressive to be able to maintain control with the health and armor pickups. Now, a rail shot hit. Rafa really on point with these rails so far. He needs to be able to find the shot to finish off his opponent as he's having a little bit of trouble locating where exactly ID just went with that last hit.
Yeah, they're going to look like he's trying to get a little peek shot. And when you don't have control, sometimes you can't really fight for those powerful items, but you can use them as ambush points. As you see right there, he's just trying to use the fact he knows Shane or Rafa's going to get to that point, and you can drop some rockets, try to hit him with a rail, anything to just try to take away that item he just got.
He's lost the location on him now, but he is trying to anticipate the push. As you can see, the full armor spawn is just about to roll back in, and once more, Rafa just finds himself directly on top of it and gets himself an immediate kill. The rail shot connecting here, but it battles right back. Now ID is going to find himself very low, just at 25 HP. Gets a little bit of it back for free, as that is the passive there on BJ Blazkowicz. Is able to passively regenerate some of his health. Still.
Yeah, he hit some nice rails there, and I think both of them were low at the end of that exchange.
Yeah, Rafa was probably not too enthusiastic about actually trying to chase down that kill either, but now ID just trying to sneak through. Not Rafa. At the end of the day, Rafa does bail from the room, and that is going to give the full pickup with the full armor, and the mega health goes over towards ID now, so he has a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be looking to engage over here by the mega health, considering he just got that heavy armor.
Rafa once more reading into it as he does get himself the full vision onto his opponent for those few seconds there. Will be gone now, but before he goes away, hits a nice rocket, and now he's going to move in with the lightning gun to try and just finish this one off. He's got him very low at this point now, just about 70 HP remaining, but ID also busted out the dual wield. Didn't really get much damage with it though. Still 120 HP, but that rocket just changed it, and there we go. Rafa goes down, so it's going to be ID that claims round number 1.
I think Rafa got a little too aggressive there. He kind of had him low and went up that jump pad one too many times, and ID really lined him up there. But great play by both players. Like I said, I thought that fight was actually going to happen at the Mega Health, but Rafa had good position there early. ID kind of backed off to keep his own position, and it ended up working out for him. Rafa kind of came right into him, did some damage, and I think he miscalculated how much stack he really had left.
What an amazing turnaround from ID too. And oh, look at this here now. Oh my goodness, ID's gonna find himself in a terrible position right at the start, getting absolutely knocked around, finds himself incredibly low, gets out of dodge though, and restores some of his HP. Now he's just trying to keep himself alive and in this fight. Granted, Rafa's not too fully stacked up just yet either, but he's gonna continue to fight for this one, and a nice rocket right up close. Takes down ID just a few seconds into the second round.
Good frag, good frag. That's good weapon selection when you're in that close quarter combat situation. The rocket launcher is just deadly.
Rafa just continuing to take that fight now as the Scale Bearer is going to use his ability defensively to try and actually run away, get out of that fight, and give him a little bit more time to get stacked up. Rafa continuing to heat, but he'll back away for right now. Just trying to reposition, though, the counter out of the push from ID to move over and pick up this mega health over here.
Got a little bit of a cat and mouse game on there. There it is. Her saw ID listening there for him.
Trading a few rocket hits, but Rafa continues that aggressive play style now, moving in, and he's going to be able to slide around the corner very quickly to take up the full armor spawn too. Unfortunately, he gets hit by that rail going away, so he loses the extra armor pickup from the full kit just about a second after he gets it, but avoids the extra damage from that and still ends up.
That's where good item timing can bail you out there. Even though he was in a bad spot, he knew exactly when the item was spawning, got it, and got out of there.
So, ID continuing to try and fight forward with this Scale Bearer here now. He's got his rush back up if he can get Rafa into a close quarters fight. He's trying to avoid these rockets. Another nice rail connecting now, looking for the second, but Rafa's gone down below. However, the shot hits not enough to get the kill, but he re-peeks right back into it. And it's ID that claims the second kill now, bringing it down to 2 champions versus 2.
Just great shooting there. I mean, you just tip your hat on that one, my friend. That was just excellent shooting.
ID is going to waste no time, though, just like how Rafa did it when he got the first kill there. ID tries to dive right back in and take on the Sorlag. Unfortunately, he gets hit by the spit, and he's a little bit too low to continue fighting for that with only about 50 HP left over, so he had to back up and try to get a little bit of his own health back before trying to re-engage here now, which he's going to do, but missing that rail. Again, finding himself in the close battle. Does not want to end up taking it, so he retreats once more.
ID seems really on point with his rail right now. I would be a little concerned playing him, that's for sure. Oh, it's a great move coming out of that portal.
Rafa's eating so much damage from the lightning gun there. Thankfully, still ends up with a pretty decent amount of health at the end of it. But it's up to ID to try and chase this down as he is focusing a little bit more on the mega health pickup. And just making sure he keeps himself at around full armor. He's got the kit, so besides controlling it and just trying to deny weapon spawns, actually picking them up is not going to be a huge deal for him right now, but he loses that armor again. That's been one of Rafa's strengths so far in this match, is the control over the full armor pickup that he's had so far throughout this map.
You know, I just commented how good that rail was going. I always compare it to the three-point shot in basketball. When it leaves you, it leaves you. He's missed those last few shots.
As we can see now, he's going to find himself with not a whole lot of real estate, I should say, to really work with here. So he has to bail out. And again, when he does that charge, it should be noted, too, that he also has a damage reduction buff applied to him. So he takes a little bit less damage when trying to run away or charge into an opponent when he activates that ability. But nice combo there. Uses the rocket and chains it right into another rail shot. This is the second one, which would have almost guaranteed a kill at that point.
Yeah, that's just a great weapon combo. Reading his opponent and had the rocket waiting for him, bounce him in the air, he switched to rail. It's one of the most devastating combos in Quake.
Quick recovery by Rafa, though, as he's already back up to full HP and waiting now for the Mega Health spawn, which is coming in right now, and he immediately picks that back up. We still have 10 seconds until the full armor kit, so you can look and see now that Rafa is immediately going to try to chain this over, see if he can read into ID, trying to go for a similar pickup. He's done it, but now he's actually fighting for control. It still seems like Rafa has the initiation right, so but he's going to lead right into the battle, goes for that spit as well, and there you go, eliminates ID with a beautiful shot off the rail to finish it.
That was an excellent aggressive play because, you know, the heavy armor was up, without cutting into the action too much here, but the heavy armor is up, an opponent will naturally assume you're just going to go for it, but he took the aggressive tack, rocket jumped up, went right after him, and I think it caught his opponent off guard there.
Well, ID is now back on the Blastquits. It's his last champion to try and use here. There still has 2 left, and there's only 25 seconds remaining, so he's not have a whole lot of time. He needs to get himself back into this fight.
Yeah, Rafa for sure knows he's got to make a move here so he can play defensive and let ID run right into him.
Now time continuing to grow lower and lower, and they are ready to take that fight. His opponents managed to pick up the railgun, but continuing to hop back around and bailing out of this fight. He finding himself in a position where he will try to be going for a few more pickups.
Round 2.
But ultimately, he ends up 1 champion down against his opponent, so Rafa is going to claim round number 2 as the timer expires.
Great match. Like I said, that rocket jump play was really the key play, actually, because that got him the frag that gave him the lead there. Like I said, the heavy armor's up, and that instinct to just grab it, he went against that instinct and took a good play to catch his opponent off guard. It was just smart. Really smart.
Yeah, at the point where we were at like 2 champions versus 2 champions, it just was stalemated for so long. Rafa really needed to make an aggressive move to get into the fight and give him the advantage, especially with time getting low there, and he did that perfectly. And this time we're going to find ourselves right back into the fight right at the start here too. ID on the Ranger, using the die orb to get himself a little bit more up close there and just get himself a faster pickup onto the rail, along with getting the full armor pickup when it did spawn in. We've got power-up spawning again here in just a moment. Armor's come back up. No one really looking for that right now. It's almost seemed like ID wanted to try and deny this mega health pickup on Rafa, but didn't really succeed in it too much. And now he's almost handed both the full armor and the mega health over to Rafa for yet another occasion here. This has to be the 5th or 6th time we've seen it happen so far in this duel.
I think that was little strategic errors on ID's part there. He should have at least got one of those items.
Well, now he's going to find himself cornered here too, so he might just lose his first champion right from the get-go, trying to fight it with rockets, but he's been cornered, uses the die orb to get himself out of a corner, but it doesn't matter. Rafa still going to be able to claim the first kill. He's done that in all 3 rounds so far.
And again, we point out that extra stack he had right there made the difference. I mean, that heavy armor he had extra was the winning battle. That's why he won.
ID actually changing up his order over to Blazkowicz early, but it doesn't seem to matter as Rafa just tears through the second champion with no problem at all. So Rafa with a dominating lead. He just needs one more kill to claim this duel, and he will take it 2-1. Still needs to pick that one up, and a little bit low he finds himself after that duel there. Still another rail shot connecting, and he just goes right into that final frag as he just destroys ID on that 3rd and final round. So it's going to be Rafa, ladies and gentlemen, that takes our first show match with a final result of 2-1.
Yeah, not much ID can do down there in that hallway. When he got caught and he got red, that first rail really kind of sealed his fate. He knew he was trapped in the corner, had to kind of get away, but he knew by doing so he was going to put himself in danger of that second follow-up rail, and Rafa nailed it.
Yeah, so Rafa being able to control our first match there, and that's the first of many matches that we do have to show you folks today, so make sure you do stick around as we have plenty more action. We have 2 more players that have joined us here from across the North American spectrum, and coming up in a little bit here, we're going to be having AZK take on Dahang, and that will be coming up in just a little bit. But before we get to that, though, it seems like we're going to be doing another best of 3 between these 2 players as a rematch seems to be in order. That was a close-fought battle. ID slumping a little bit there on the 3rd round, but definitely putting up a great fight in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it started off really evenly matched. It seemed like Rafa kind of got into a groove there towards the end of the match, and was throwing ID off a little bit. Like I said, some of the decisions he was making in regards to he didn't get the mega health. He tried to ambush him at the mega health, missed his shot, and as a result, he wasn't able to get back to the heavy armor in time. And Rafa got both, started running the map on him, and there you go.
Let's not forget that incredible comeback that ID had back in round number 1, too. He started off down. It was 1v3 against champions, and he managed to get 2 kills back-to-back within about a minute, I think, between the 2 of them, and bring it down to the 1v1 where he was able to finally close it out at the end of the round and actually kind of steal out of the hands of Rafa. That was almost just a 2-0 right from the start there if Rafa was able to close out on that first round, but he ended up turning it around and fought for a little bit longer there as he had that really, really nice recovery that really just popped out of nowhere. It surprised both of us, I think.
Yeah, he really did. I thought Rafa was running the map really well. Next thing you know, ID hit some great shots, got the frag, got his own momentum going, and then at the end of that round, like I said, he had more of a stack than I think Rafa realized, and Rafa made a miscalculation there, and hey, he got the round.
Well, we're going back into the draft now as champions are being selected. Rafa and ID, remember, you get to pick 3 as this draft is split up. It's divided between the 2 players here, so it gives you a little bit of an opportunity to see what your opponent is picking, and if you want to try to counter pick around that. Now, we see another different champion coming back into the fray now over there on ID side. He is actually going to go with Clutch, which is a new champion we haven't seen just yet. Really big champion, really big hitbox, but he has the active ability of straight up putting a shield in front of him, so able to help yourself out a lot if you get pressured, like he was getting quite a bit in that last match.
Yeah, he is the size of a house, but as I think is a good second pick with the shield and his large stack, I think it's good for avoiding that, rushing opponent right after a kill and trying to, you can fend them off. It's certainly a deterrent. You're not going to spawn frag at Clutch.
So who do we think is going to take this second one now? Do we think Rafa's going to hold strong as the current champion, or is ID going to swing back and be able to steal the second map after
I don't know,
giving himself some time to recover and figure out how to counter Rafa here?
There were some tense moments in there where I thought ID had some chance to get some frags, especially with some of those rails he was hitting. He had Rafa ambushed by heavy armor quite a few times, but just couldn't get that finish.
Well, back into the 1v1 we will go as the duel begins, and immediately ID is able to spot Rafa. Again, trying to read into exactly where he'd go. There's a huge branching path from where Rafa just ended up moving into, but it isn't going to be ID that actually controls most of the extra pickups to start. However, a beautiful rail shot from Rafa. Didn't even look like you could see him for a second there. But nonetheless, also quite a bit of that extra HP and armor that ID had from those pickups. It has now basically just brought him down to his normal health pool.
Yeah, they're very evenly stacked right now. Oh man,
look at this from Rafa, just diving right into the fight. So many rocket hits. He's got him low, and then switches over to the rails to finish things off. As again, it's Rafa starting off with the initial kill.
Great combo. Again, good rocket placement. Had his guy in a corner, switched the rail. There's the frag.
I go right into a fight again. Here's the problem, though, is ID's just stuck in this corner, nowhere to go. He has that shield he can use, but decides not to deploy it, so just sits into the corner. Takes so many hits from Rafa, and again, chases himself so quickly into that second kill. Rafa having no problems at all right now, as he's already got this down to a 3v1.
Yeah, I was a little curious why he didn't pop a shield there, or just something, because he was definitely in trouble. Maybe he thought he could get the kill without it and save it, but...
Another rail coming in now from Rafa as it connects, just hitting these shots back to back, and now the tank. Rafa's going to be able to claim both the mega health pickup along with the full armor, and he's going to go for this third kill right at the start. ID has that shield on him, he wants to chase away, but no, uses the Dire to try and get it close to finish off his opponent. Does not pay off though, so Rafa gets himself a quick round one.
Good attempt there by ID. You know, he was in a corner, there's not much he could do, but if he were to get that Dire Orb and get a nice little telefrag on Rafa, it could have really changed the momentum there. But ID's got to get a little more on top of those major items. The mega health, the heavy armor. You know, Rafa's really in a groove right now. He's got to throw him off his rhythm somehow.
Yeah, we were talking about, you know, ID's ability to rail here, but the problem is if he continues to let Rafa control all of these health pickups, then it's not really going to matter at the end of the day, as he's just going to be able to eat those rails up and only really be brought down to just his normal health pool at that point.
Yeah, one of the issues with the railgun, even if your opponent is really stacked, even if you hit that initial shot when they're coming in, because of the reload time and things like that, an opponent can take advantage of that.
Rafa on the hunt now as he is moving around to try and pick up first frag for yet another occasion. Lines himself up with a beautiful rail shot there. I think ID trying to chase down a little bit of extra armor. He's able to eat that for right now, though. Trying to move around the map. He's got himself decent snack to try and play with here, but Rafa set up for it now. Hits the rocket shot, is going to hop around and continue fighting for this one. Doesn't really seem like ID initially wants to take this battle, so he bails over into the armor spawn. Tries to fight better there. He also gives himself a nice option to just evacuate if things go badly in another 1v1 there, as he has that portal next to him. But it's actually Rafa that bails out from this duel, even though he has ID very low. And ID is not doing a great job of trying to recover this health pool now. Down at 75 HP, and he's only picking up these little 25 health pickups. He doesn't have any armor to work with, which is going to make him incredibly squishy if he goes into another fight. But that direct hit from the rocket certainly helped his odds, or at the very least, he's going to help keep Rafa a bit more passive so he can recover more of this health.
Yeah, Rafa backed off in that last fight. Even though ID was low, he wanted to make sure he got the heavy armor and on the proper time that he wanted it.
Yeah, now Rafa really has him. As ID, this isn't a good position, as kind of backed into a corner, has denied him mega health pickup, and now with Rafa's position, look, he timed the spawn perfectly, can go in, takes the rail shot, gets brought down kind of low, but it doesn't matter as he can just hop right back and pick up the mega health with basically no consequences.
That's a good example of having a backout plan and an engagement in Quake. You got to be very careful about going all in into engagement. You should have some kind of avenue for retreat to regain your stack.
Well, it does look like we are having a slight technical issue, folks. We're going to try to get that fixed as soon as we can to resume this match. But so far in this duel, like we said before, it's continued to be Rafa just kind of dominating things right at the start of it. He gets really aggressive, just goes for a couple pickups there, and then just tries to dive right into the fight. Most of the time, he ends up coming out on top. May not get the frag right at the beginning of it, but at the very least, he can restrict his opponent, keep ID kind of backed away into a corner, just fighting for scraps, essentially. And then when he's fully kitted out again, he can just move right in for the finishing blow.
It just really shows how map control is a critical aspect. You get in these combat, you know, as I like to try to tell people, all these top players can aim. They'll hit their shots. These are top-notch players. The things that will win the game, who can run the map, like you said, the map control, and who makes those proper decisions to put yourself in position to get the frag. Because positioning is really a critical aspect. It will make it will make aiming look easy. You know? It makes it look easy, but it's not. But it's all about setting up your shots properly and trying to get that finish. And I really do think Rafa's is one of the best ever at it.
And the greatest thing about Quake is each individual player can have their own individual strengths, since there are so many aspects that go into how the duel plays out. Your ability to move around the map and get yourself into a great position, like you were saying before, or maybe your ability to read into an opponent, maybe not playing it as fast, maybe kind of hiding in a corner, just trying to read into your opponent. Then once you have your opponent set up in an ambush, just move in and strike them down. They won't even know what hit them under certain circumstances. And what's great about that is with Quake Champions, there are specific champions that play into those specific play styles. You have some champions that are able to move much quicker. Some champions, they will have like movement speed caps and whatnot, whereas other champions are going to be a little bit more tankier and a little bit better at just one-on-one fighting in the open.
I certainly like the varying play styles about Quake Champions because, everybody has their own style of play in a sense, and it's nice to be able to, hey, I like a little more movement, I like a little more speed, I'm going to go with this champion, or I like this ability, and like I said, you can counteract your opponent's picks, and there's just a lot of deeper strategy, I think, involved with the fact that the champions all have their own little set of skills.
Absolutely. So it is looking like, folks, that we'll be moving on to our next match, actually. And as we did say before, it is going to be AZK going up against Dahang. We have plenty more North American pros to show off here so far, and these are going to be our next two. AZK, as many may know, comes over from quite a few different communities. He's had experience across a whole different plethora of FPSs, namely Counter-Strike, and then he played a couple of other games after his time in Counter-Strike, and more recently Overwatch and whatnot, but now he's coming to Quake to see what he can offer to this community as well and see how he can go up against some of the best.
Yeah, I don't know much about AZK's Quake history, but I know Dahang's been around. And I don't know, in terms of picking this match, I'm maybe going to go with the upset, maybe, and just see. I'm just going to go with the AZK.
You go with AZK?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I think I'm going to go with the upset here. But Dahang's a top-notch player, man. Seriously, he's been around the Quake block a few times.
Well, of course, we are going to be having plenty of more action coming up throughout the day. Not only just these 1v1s, but we have plenty of chances for you guys that are, of course, here in the hall itself. You can have your chance to walk up here, play on our stage, and try to play off against some of these pros. Just see how you do, and that'll be coming up after some of these 1v1s. So be sure to stick around if you want to have your chance to play here at the E3 Esports Zone. Coming up a little bit later than that, you'll play with the pros as well. Instead of just beating them, we'll have some devs versus pros show matches, more of our play with the pros, and then some pro show matches like we're having now to try and close out the day as we get towards the end of this.
I can't wait. There's more matches. Let's keep the matches going. I'm excited. I love watching Quake and talking about Quake. This is an exciting time. I just really, I can't wait. And actually, I'm looking forward to the Joes getting there on stage and really seeing, what the game is capable of and seeing what these players can really do at the top level. It's one thing to see it, it's another thing to experience it. And they're going to get.
It's gonna be interesting to see just how big of a skill gap there is between our pros, which have been grinding out hours and hours and hours on end on the respective beta weekends, and the Joes, which may have not even touched the game yet. So we'll have to see. We would have hoped they gave themselves a little bit of practice trying to come up here. But
hey, well, Quake Beta's been open. Hopefully they signed up and got a little time in. But I don't know how much help that's going to do against a pro. But just give them work. Put the work in. Make these pros work. That's all I can say.
Well, it looks like we have some of our pros sitting down now, so we can take a peek as to how they're doing. Again, Dahang on the left and AZK on the right, as they'll be taking each other on in another duel, 1v1, and we'll be getting into that draft in just a moment. We're not only going to be having duel matches here today either, though. We're also going to be having some sacrifice games, and that is the other competitive mode coming into Quake Champions. Tell us a little bit about how sacrifice works.
Sacrifice is a little alteration from classical team deathmatch, and also, I guess, capture the flag. They kind of combine the element in a sense where a soul spawns and either team picks up the spawn. You have to bring it back to an obelisk. And once you get back to this obelisk, you have to defend it as your team. The other team can attack it by standing in the zone and stealing the soul and bringing it back to the other obelisk. So it's an alteration to me. It's a little capture the flag, except the flag's not captured right away. You got to defend it and really coordinate. And another team can coordinate their attacks really to get it back. And how you use your champion abilities to defend the soul carrier and all this. It's a huge impact. Not to mention you can pass the soul and throw it around to your teammates.
It'd be like just a game of like dodgeball in some respects. playing properly. But yeah, it's really cool how you can actually coordinate like routes between your teammates too. If you have maybe say like a faster but squishier champion going in to actually pick up the soul, but then you have a tankier champion kind of waiting in the wings, or vice versa. You have the tanky champion moving in to get the soul, and then you kind of hand it off to one of your faster champions that has faster movement speed but maybe not as much health, but they can make that route over to your obelisk a little bit quicker to start claiming it for your favor and then get set up for the defense over on your site.
Yeah, definitely a common strategy I expect to see is having more of the tankier classes move in first to clear the area, whether it's the Sorlag Acid Spit, maybe a Clutch coming in with the shield to protect people, or a Scale Bearer charges. Get out of the way, you know, and then you come in with your Anarchy or your Nyx, these smaller classes that are fast, have them run as fast as they can, and then run interference for them so they don't get chased down.
Well, back to the discussion of the duel, of course, as we have AZK and Dahan getting ready to face each other on. Just waiting for them to get set up and get ready to jump into the match. And then we will get started with our second match of the day here between these two North American pros. Teammates as well in another game, so they have that going for them. They have that little bit of a read into each other. I'm sure they've spent plenty of time playing amongst each other. That could be a bad thing here in Quake, though, is if you know the other player's tendencies, well, you're going to be able to read right into that and read into his routes as well, possibly. Just knock him right out of the match before he even has a chance to pick anything up.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the things, you know, way back in the early Quake days, a lot of us wouldn't like our demos recorded. We would play kind of secretly. We didn't want to give away, you know, our strategy. But these guys being teammates, as you said, they're going to be very familiar with each other. But nothing like bragging rights, internal bragging rights, even among friends. You know, that's what it's all about there, man. You get a win, you just talk a little trash for fun.
At the end of the day, for today at least, it's all in good fun, of course, but there is much more intense competition coming up as the Quake World Championship was just announced a few days ago. It's a $1 million tournament with the finals coming up in QuakeCon in August. The qualifiers are starting soon, folks, so if you'd like more information on how you could participate in the online portion, go ahead over to the ESL Play website where you can find out all of that info. As like we said before, the qualifiers are coming up in just a few short weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited for that tournament. I don't see how you're a first-person shooter a gamer. Seeing that tournament, man, throw your hat in the arena. See what you got in Quake, because there's a lot of skill involved in this game, and if you think you got what it takes, I mean, why not go for that cash?
Yeah. And as you guys saw on the screen, of course, we did just have the draft go through, so the 6 champions have been picked, and we should be jumping into our map in just a second, just waiting for those players to load in, and then we can get started with the second match. I think I timed that perfectly. Here we go, jumping into it. AZK versus Dahan. Going to be starting off with the Ranger here for AZK and a Visor pick for Dahan.
So this is a Blood Run alteration here. This is an older map, so these players should be very familiar with it. There's been some alterations here. But the critical aspect, as usual, is they have the mega health and that heavy armor. You really have to stay on top of those items.
Right up at the start here. Already have AZK sitting in a pretty good position. We've traded power-ups a little bit, but AZK ends up with the armor, so gives himself a little bit more credence. AZK maybe a little bit too aggressive with this fight, though, and finds himself just destroyed by a direct rocket hit from Dahan to claim the first kill.
Definitely a miscalculation there. Should not have gone into that engagement. And frankly, that was an easy finish for Dahan, getting faced on that scenario.
AZK with a nice rocket in himself, though. Unfortunately, Dahan just ends up jumping right into it, so he takes quite a bit of damage. Quick recovery, though, is already back up to full HP. And AZK needs to hop around. Already seeming like he's looking for it. He does try to use the grates, but just gets a rocket right to the face. Perfect read from Dahan, and now AZK has to go running to try and recover some of his health, as he's extremely low right now. Just 1 or 2 more hits, and he's dead on the ground.
That was an excellent rocket. He used his Visor ability, as you saw, and kind of knew his opponent was coming.
Well, does some good damage at the end there, but it's just nothing at the end of the day when you look at still the amount of health that Dahan ends up left over with. AZK goes down for the 2nd time, and now he's down to his last champion.
And that's another, just an illustration of why positioning really matters in Quake. He had that high ground with the rocket launcher. There's really nothing AZK could do.
Well, he's got his opponent into a pretty good position now. 3 rocket hits back to back. Still, though, decides not to chase it down, but there we go. Dahan finally locks in that last kill. And it's a quick round to start things off.
Good finish by Dahan there. You can definitely see his Quake experience. You know, this guy's played in Quake tournaments in the past. AZK gave it a good effort there, but you can see the experience, the decision-making was really the difference. I mean, I'm sure AZK can hit some great shots, but he made some poor decisions there and put himself in bad spots.
Yeah, a very aggressive play, as we saw from AZK for a lot of that round, and now finds himself a little bit down below here. However, some pretty decent pickups to work off of here. He's got rockets, lightning gun along with the rail, so he's kitted out pretty well, and he does have that mega health going for him, the bonus health, as he's up to about 40 plus at this point. But again, finds himself in a pretty poor position, gets himself a little bit of a spray onto his opponent there as the spit ends up connecting onto Dahong, so it is doing a little bit of damage, but that's already gone now. Now in an open fight, AZK manages to connect a rail shot. However, AZK also takes quite a bit of hits himself. Now very low, cornered with this lightning gun down extremely low, and another rail rolls out from Dahong to claim the first kill on round number 2.
You know, AZK actually made a good decision going down there for the mega health, but I felt where he went wrong was sticking with the railgun coming around that corner. I felt the rocket launcher would have been far more effective.
Yeah, the recovery time was really killer there, as we saw. It was just left in the open, and he can't switch to another gun in the time that he's actually recovering from the railgun shot there either, so he has to wait that full duration. So he'll move into a pretty good position here as Dahong ends up with most of the pickups again on the second round of it, and AZK, well, ends up going up the hopper here, but still just can't get himself into a good position. It almost seems like Dahong's just playing with AZK at this point and reading into him so well. So much damage being done to AZK. He has to be close to going down. Now granted, Dahong's taking a few hits too, and the double rail right to the face of AZK knocks him out and brings him down to his last champion.
Just wow. I mean, he just went really aggressive there and just stuck with the railgun. That's
He's doing it again. Oh.
He's good. Maybe he's showing off a little too much right there.
AZK finally claiming a kill. I think it's his first kill in the match so far here, as he does bust out the shotgun to be able to finally pick up that frag. Immediately pushed back, though, over here towards the rail spawn. Still with a somewhat decent position, but and trying to go for that full armor pickup. Ends up kind of knocking himself out there as he finds himself into a poor position, takes another duel, which was probably ill-advised at the end of the day, and Dahong ends up claiming it there, just straight up 2-0.
Yeah, there at the end, he went through that portal. Dahong was reading him up there, and you really can't just go into a top-level player like that, especially when they know you're coming. I mean, these guys are going to place their shots properly, and they're just going to run you into those rockets like you just saw.
Yeah. And we saw, a really great example there of the Quake pros moving in, and they have the experience with the core versions of Quake, and that all still plays into Quake Champions very well, but going up against another player that kind of comes from outside of the Quake sphere a little bit, doesn't work out too well, as we saw there. Definitely some learning still to do for AZK.
I think there's some of the Quake fundamentals, if you will. There's some things he needs to learn. You can tell he's very talented. A little more practice, I'm sure, with these guys will get him up to speed. But yeah, there's the ancient Quake book of how to frag. There's certain fundamental things you need to do to be successful at Quake. But I'm sure he has the correct mindset, so I know he'll get better. I have no doubt.
It's always a learning game in Quake.
Yes, as long as you have the proper mindset moving forward, you'll get better at the game.
Yeah, we definitely saw some things like weapon selection maybe not being used at some of the best times. Positioning was a big thing there. A lot of that all plays into it. And as we've been mentioning many times, it's not just your capability to frag. It's so much more than that. Your movement capability, your ability to read in a situation. Should I take this fight? Should I prioritize picking up more armor or health or just another weapon pickup? Should I just go right in and try to knock this guy out? Do I think I have him low enough?
And then there's situations where you just tip your cap a little bit. When he went after him with those rails at close range and just finished him, wow. That's all I could say.
I think at that point, that's when Dahong knew that he had full control over that matchup. But we are going to send it over to our couch right now to talk a little bit about some of these games we've had so far.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm joined here with ID and Rafa. Now, you guys played in the first 1v1 duel. What was that experience like getting on stage and kind of having some playful banter between the two of you?
It was really great. I mean, the game feels really good on land. I think a lot more, like the rockets are better, rails are better, everything's good. I haven't played in a couple days, so it was nice to try the new build, which is really good.
Get back in the swing of things.
Yeah, it was great. Rafa was also really tough to deal with.
Yeah.
I thought I did okay.
Yeah, same sentiment with felt really good on LAN. It feels good to be playing Quake on LAN again. So, and I'd say it was actually quite interesting being thrown into Sarnath, even though obviously something happened. But both of us had never played that item layout before, so see how we played it like right off the bat against each other was pretty interesting.
Awesome. Now, with the newest update that they had, they did come out with the tribal weapon. What are your guys' take on this new weapon and kind of what it brings to the stage with Quake Champions and kind of just the evolving meta as a whole?
I think it's a really interesting weapon, and I'm glad they added it to the game. There's some really cool things you can do with it. Like you can shoot the bolts at the floor and use it to kind of jump up the ledges and stuff like that. And I also think it's really good at range too. When you're trying to keep people away from certain doorways, you can block it off with it and things like that. I think it has its place in the game.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I like how it's balanced. Feel like it's a really good zoning weapon so far, but it also has the potential for huge burst damage, you know? If you like really predict like where somebody's gonna come around the corner at the right time, because you have to like, because it's not like instant 3, it's like dun 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 dun. So if you predict it properly, you can nuke somebody for like 120 damage, but it's really hard to do. So it feels really rewarding when you actually achieve that.
Awesome. Now, there was also the introduction of BJ getting added to the game. What's your takes on him as a new champion?
I think it's a really unique take compared to the rest of the champions, because I'd say overall, like, he seems pretty standard or pretty weak for most of his play, but because of his ability, there's like really unique moments where he is so strong. So you like the way you're playing is trying to set up a specific moment or two for yourself to try to win a specific fight, just because it just goes from being normal to really strong for a couple seconds.
And for those of you that aren't already aware, BJ is from the Wolfenstein, so you're having some kind of crossover with the Wolfenstein and the Quake setup, and his ability allows you to have those dual weapons, so you get that extra damage. Do you feel that you have to be very specific on when you decide to pull those double-wielding weapons out?
Yeah, that was one of the first times I've actually got to say he's really great. Like Rafa said, it's kind of situational. Like, he doesn't feel that great when you're not with the ability, although the threat of always having the ability around, which is what makes him good. So if you're, if someone's trying to come after you on an item, they're not sure if you have that ability up yet. It's actually really dangerous for them to commit to that fight if you have like a dual-wielding shotgun or dual-wielding rockets or LG or things like that. And I think I used it a couple times in the match, and it actually works really well when you try to bait someone into a fight and then commit with that. So I think he's a good addition to the game.
Pull it out, just blast them away with the double weapons. Well, don't forget, you guys at home can get a chance to get on the Quake action. The beta is open. If you're here at E3, we've got a stage for you, or we've got a desk rather, for you to come on, sign up. If you're at home watching, Quake.com, make sure you sign up for that beta. Make sure you get involved in the Quake Champions. But we're not done with matches. We're not done with the excitement. We're gonna kick it back and get some things going.
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. Well, it's time for a little bit of fun now, as we still have Dahong up on the stage, but he is going to be going up against some of our Joes. So this is the ultimate test of noob versus pro, or possibly someone a little more skilled. That we'll have to see. We may have a few surprises to see amongst our Joes, as this is just walk up. Anyone that wants to do it will be able to do it. So if you guys are interested here in the convention hall, you can make sure to stick around, and I'm sure you'll have your opportunity to be able to jump back up there and play against some of our resident pros here from NA.
I think this is kind of really fun. One for the Joes, the fans get to play with these Quake pros. But I think it's a great showcase, as I mentioned earlier, of how high the skill level really is on these players. When you see them facing off against each other, you see some great shots. But when you put them against somebody in those lower tiers, I mean, I expect them to maybe play with their food a little bit here and have some fun.
A few gauntlet kills possibly to be seen. We'll have to wait on that one. Well, it looks like we have Roger up on the stage here. Now, Roger is going to be trying to take on Dahong. How do you feel his odds are?
Slim to none.
Slim to none.
And Slim just left the building. It's just, I mean, sorry, Roger, but you're up against one of the greats right now. So you got your work cut out for you, man.
Roger's looking like he's just here to have a little bit of fun, but look at Dahong, man. He's all business right now. He's focused. He's ready to just dominate his opponent here when they jump into the match. I'm sure the crowd loves an underdog, though. We should be sure to give a little bit of root for Roger. Give him a little bit of moral support, push him forward, maybe. There you go, guys. Yeah, look at Roger. He's a natural. He's just pumping up the crowd as well.
Hey, maybe a future pro right there, Let's put in the work, man.
Well, we'll be, like I said, jumping into that match in just a few minutes. We should have ourselves the picks coming up as well. Just waiting on that one to get set up, and then we can hop into it. We'll have to see just how well Roger is able to fare going up against Dahong here. As Dahong's already had himself a little bit of time to warm up in that last match versus AZK, so he's got himself going pretty well. He's got the blood pumping, he's got the hands heated up a little bit, so he's ready to frag.
And yeah, but like you said, he still looks like he's all business. He's ready to go. As I always say with Quake, no mercy, no mercy. You just play full out.
Well, once again, we do have Roger on the right, on the red side, as player 4, I believe he'll be listed as in-game. And Hong on the left. We already have some of the picks, and, well, it seems like Roger knows he's doing quite well. He's gone for the Visor and Anarchy picks to start off, so a lot of movement speed coming out for him.
Yeah, interesting picks. It seems like maybe he might be a little familiar with the game. Maybe
Yeah,
he
maybe.
surprises us a little bit here. See what Roger's got.
We'll have to see. His last pick should be coming up in just a second, and he is going to bust out BJ Blazkowicz. That's the new champion that was just added. With the picks complete, we'll be heading into our map. It was the one that we were just on, so we're going back into the ruins of Sarnath now.
Yeah, even though Dahong's the pro, be careful running into that BJ ability when he's dual wielding something. It can really make a mess of you.
I mean, we saw that a few times, I think, in our first duel that we had when Rafa took on ID, that ID used it often as his last champion, and he used it almost as sort of surprise turnaround capability, as he was able to just push right into Rafa's face. Most of the time with a lightning gun, just in my experiences as like a personal opinion here, that's where I've had the most effectiveness with the dual wielding so far, is if you can get right up close with someone with the lightning gun or get yourself at a decent range, and if they don't see you coming, you just rip them to shreds with that thing.
Yeah, it's a devastating. I agree. The dual lightning gun with BJ is absolutely devastating. I did a little practice game with 0-4 the other day just for fun, and caught him off guard with one of those. It just melted him. It was amazing.
Well, here we go. We're into the map now. See how well these guys are able to face off against each other. Roger actually doing quite well at the start here, getting himself the extra pickup, but now into the fight. He does use the ability a little bit early. And oh, Roger goes down so quickly, just walks through that trail there that Slash busted out. So already his first champion is going to be gone.
They're getting a little aggressive there, going after that pro. But hey, you know what? I like that. No fear. No fear from Roger right there. Not getting intimidated.
Roger also going with the shotgun spawn here. He won't be on that for long, as he is going to be very quickly picking up just the lightning gun and the rockets, and now just trying to defend this little bit of real estate he has. If he sticks around for another 10 seconds or so, that mega health is going to spawn in the middle of the platform too, but decides not to do it, and he is going to find himself another fight as Dahong is ready to take it. He's got rails and a rail, lightning gun, and a railgun combo again to finish off the second life off of his opponent.
Again, some of the fundamentals of Quake, revealing himself a little too early, before his opponent. He didn't have a stack, and against pro players like this, they're going to nail you with some shots. So you better be prepared with some health and armor.
He's going to be using the tri-bone a little bit there. You saw the pros talking about over on our couch a few minutes ago. That is the new weapon that was also just recently added in the update last Sunday. But now Dahong just wants to end this here. Shotgun battle up close, and it is going to be Dahong as he claims it 3-0 in the first round.
Just shows you, like I said, the decision-making, the map control. It really gets illustrated there, like I said, against an average player, not a pro. You can just see in terms of the decision-making how his engagements were going. Roger's got some skills, though, man. He could definitely get better with some right coaching.
We'll have to see. Maybe get him a little bit of assistance. That could be a new segment for us, as the pros versus Joes supported by pros or something like that. But right now, Roger finds himself at the start here. Gets himself the rail pickup, at least, if he has that going for him. And here's Visor's ability being used now. It's the lock. Doesn't seem to have much use, though, as he finds himself right up close against Dahong on the Skill Bearer. And Dahong has no reservations with fighting this, even just using the straight-up default SMG to fight him as well. No problems whatsoever, taking out Roger's first champion.
Yeah, scenarios, you got to recognize when you have those weapons. Came right into his face with a railgun when Dahong had that rocket launcher, and that's not where you want to be.
Dahong still, even though he's having himself a little bit of fun here, still doing a great job of controlling both the mega health and the full armor pickup, so he's going to get himself that tank medal for it. And walked right into another kill here. As you can see, Roger not utilizing his ability to jump around and keep himself moving quickly very well, so he also loses that second champion as a result of that. Dahong sees an opportunity to use a nice charge, and, well, he uses it quite nicely. And now he's going to try to just finish this off right now, and he does it so beautifully.
Great combo kill.
2-0.
Great combo kill. Like I said, the rocket to rail combo is one of the most devastating things in Quake. And he just shows how you can pop somebody in the air and do that quick switch to the railgun. And hey, Roger, good. I give Roger a lot of credit, though, for going after that pro. Like I said, he didn't seem intimidated at all. He went right after him.
He was ready to fight. We should have given Roger a hand, ladies and gentlemen, for helping us out here and seeing how well he was able to face off against Dahong there, giving himself his best effort. Definitely still a little bit to learn, though, before he finds himself amongst the pro level of Quake champions here.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do, but like I said, I like the non-intimidation factor. He was ready to bring it to that pro regardless. But yeah, you got to work on that item management. You got to get some of those items before you start engaging. And just from if Roger's listening, a little thing he can do better is when he spawns, try to back away and try to be a little more sneaky when you're trying to get that stack up. Try to avoid engagements, get some weapons, and come back later. You don't have to fight everybody right away.
And of course, as everyone else does jump into the beta, which you can do right now, as it has opened itself up, and it's up, I believe, just 24/7 now. So if you're interested in signing up for that, you can go head over to Quake.com. Sign up and get yourself access to the current Quake beta as it's live right now. And you need to get in quickly, as there is a big tournament coming up, which you yourself could attempt to qualify for. And that is going to be the Quake World Championships, a $1 million tournament with its finals being held at QuakeCon coming up in just a few months. And the qualifiers are only a few weeks away. If you're interested in learning more on that, you can go head over to the ESL Play website, where we have plenty of information available as to how you can sign up for some of our qualifiers leading into the regionals and eventually the grand finals at QuakeCon.
And like I said, if I was 17, 18, one of these young players playing first-person shooters, I would be all over this tournament right now. Like I said, if you think you got the skills, you need to come play Quake. I want to see what the new blood has in this game. You know, so come and show us. Come show these old pros, and maybe somebody, you know, like I say, Rafa and everybody. Nobody can be champ forever. So I'd like to see some new players get involved and really make a go at this tournament, because I'd be curious to see if there's some upsets in the work. I really do believe the new duel format leaves room for upsets, and because I think mistakes are really punished. If you make a mistake, you're fragged really quickly. The time to kill is really short. So I would just recommend new players pick it up, man. Try to learn, and if you got the skills, you will be rewarded.
One of the great things about these arena FPS games, and specifically Quake, is it has such a storied history in esports, is going to be seeing how well some of these old gods from all the previous versions of Quake coming back in now to Quake Champions, with it being revitalized, going up against some of the new blood that maybe just be jumping into Quake for the first time. Like me, this is my first foray into Quake there, and just seeing how some of these new guys can face off and seeing if they can claim championship status without having that, 10, 15 years experience that some of these other guys may have in Quake.
It's definitely possible. You got to put in the hard work. You got to be willing to take those initial losses and keep a good positive mindset and take information from those losses about what went wrong, what can you do better. If you have the proper mentality, Quake is really much a mental game. I know everybody gets caught up in the aim, but it's very much a mental game. That's why, as you mentioned, some of these old pros have been doing a long time. It really comes down to decision making. And yeah, they have a wealth of knowledge and experience, but it doesn't mean new players can't catch up to speed. I mean, you can watch these players on Twitch. You can go. There's all kinds of ways you can learn the game. It's all about the work. Are you willing to put in the work and maybe swallow your ego a little bit, swallow your pride, because you are going to get those lumps along the way. But I'll just tell anybody listening: none of these guys started out as a world-class Quake player. Everybody had to climb the ladder. And I just hope more new players give it a shot. Everybody
starts off in team deathmatches, trying to figure out how they can properly do strafe jumping and whatnot, just trying to get the ropes going essentially, and then they eventually learn some more advanced tactics based around that, and slowly grow from there. So it's really great to see.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend for any new players to think about getting a shot. You want to focus on the fundamentals of the game. Just kind of get the strafe, like I said, the strafe jumping down, get the basic mechanics, movements, understanding the weapons, and then from there you can get more into the advanced tactics and strategy. But if you don't have the basics down, you don't want to put as they say, put the cart in front of the horse. You got to crawl a little bit before you walk.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to be having more of our pros versus Joes matches coming up. They're just working on setting it up behind us over there on the stage. And I believe we'll be having ID going up against one of our Joes next. We'll have to see who he does face off against him. We saw earlier he did end up losing his first match against Rafa, but it was a close-fought battle there. And he had himself some really impressive moments, especially with his ability to utilize the new champion that was added, BJ Blazkowicz, from the Wolfenstein universe very well. And it basically turned a 3v1 situation back down into just a 1v1, where he was actually able to win it at the end of that first round in our first duel of the day, about 30-40 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was actually a very intense duel. There were some moments there where I really thought ID could have kind of had Rafa on the ropes a little bit, but Rafa, again, that decision making, not letting his opponent finish him. He's just so hard to kill, that kid. Let me tell you.
All right. Well, we do have our players getting set up on the stage now, so let's take a look at who is going to be challenging our resident pro here from the E3 Esports Zone. It is ID on the left, and he's going to be facing off against Anthony. Let's give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Anthony, and see how well he's going to be able to face off against the former Quake champion.
Yeah, let's see what this next Joe has. Let's go, Anthony. Let's show us all your skills. Push this pro.
I'm waiting for some surprises. I'm waiting for someone to just walk up and just dominate one of our pros. That would be interesting, to say the least.
That would be very interesting, to say the least. I would certainly be a little dumbfounded up here if that happened. Hey, you never know. Some of these guys could be playing. Maybe they do get that frag and push the pro a little bit. Again, if you know how to play and you make the good decisions, pros make mistakes too. Nobody plays a perfect game. If you can capitalize and maybe you get on a good run and maybe you can steal a round off of one of these guys. That's what you kind of go for. Maybe not the match, but try to steal a round.
That's another key thing, too, is being able to read into the mistakes that your opponent make, whether it's something small, like just not being able to go and, if you miss a pickup or something like that, you just find yourself in a bad position into a corner. It's the ability to sort of read into that. Now punish those mistakes. That's yet another aspect of what can give you an advantage in a duel. Looks like we're ready to go into the draft, though, so let's take a look at our picks from our Joe and our pro. And our Joe is going to go right for the, seems like light champions all around for the most part here. Anarchy, Nyx, and BJ Blazkowicz are going to be picked by our Joe, and we'll go directly into Blood Run, one of the newer maps, newish maps, I should say, that was just added to the recent update list.
Yeah, they've made some changes. The grates to shoot down into the Mega Health area. The platform where the tribal is underneath the heavy armor there has been backed off a little bit, the repositioning, so you can actually shoot directly into the Mega Health, which you could not do before in the previous version. And then, of course, there's that jump pad that they added on the left down there by the railgun. So there's two ways. You don't have to just take the portal to get back up top. You can make a left and take that jump pad. So there's definitely been some changes, made the map a little more dynamic. I'm curious, like I said, I'm curious to see some of the new strategies that evolve from this little change.
We saw DeHong, I think, using that specific grate earlier, actually, where he was able to take out AZK, trying to retrieve the Mega Health. Right into the fight, though, and Anthony going with the nail gun right up close, taking this fight against ID. ID manages to kind of sleuth away and get out of there. And unfortunately for Anthony, he ends up, well, maybe not. Hold on, he gets himself a little bit of extra damage, but still very aggressive. Right up in the face, and even being able to actually use some of the passive health regen. That passive gives him on BJ Blazkowicz. Unfortunately, though, as he ends up with not a whole lot of extra health or additional pickups, he does get destroyed by the rockets, which ID has ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, actually, you know what? The stack there really kind of bailed ID out. Anthony hit some nice rails there. Even though it wasn't the greatest position for him, he definitely hit some nice shots there. One more shot, he had a frag.
He seems to be doing pretty well so far here. Leaping down, getting rid of his opponent's armor. ID trying to hang on a little bit. Bails out, puts himself into the corner, but nicely done. Jumps out for the full armor spawn and just destroys his opponent with a final rail shot.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, once these pros know you're coming a certain direction, you can't go in straight lines at these guys. They're going to hit you every time.
The second rail in a row now. And Ace is going to be able to move in there. It's not a whole lot of health left on Anthony, unfortunately, so a quick swipe from the lightning gun, and he destroys his third champion and wins the first round.
Yeah, these Joes are really going at him aggressively, and I would just kind of recommend maybe they might want to be a little more passive and try to feel the pro out a little bit. Maybe just set up an ambush. Get these pros on their heels a little bit. You go right at them. Like I said, these guys are some of the best in the world, man. They're going to hit you, hit those shots when you're coming at them straight.
This is kind of what we were talking about before, as this is like the common mistake that some people may think about Quake, is it's all about just getting up in your opponent's face and taking that duel, and there's a lot more to it. There are huge benefits sometimes to sitting back, playing it passively, looking to go around the map and control more of it before initiating in a duel. And we're seeing great examples of that here, as for the most part, both of our Joes that we've had up on the stage so far have been hyper-aggressive. They've been trying to just go right into the face of their opponents, like we're seeing now, and they may not have the right kit for it. Anthony seems to be in an okay position, though, but he's got to be careful, as on this Nyx, there's not a lot of health to play with, already down to 31, and her ability has already been utilized here. He can't just stealth away and try to run away from this fight any longer. It seems like ID is going to be okay with letting Nyx stay alive for the time being.
Yeah, he was a little fortunate. Oh, great shot. He was a little fortunate to get out of that one situation lower with the railgun. That wasn't the best weapon for Anthony to choose down there.
They actually saw there, too, a moment ago, ID falling down. It seemed like a little bit of a mistake, and it actually was, because I think the players we're talking about on the couch, they're trying to use the new Tri-Bolt, as there is a way you can jump up to that full armor spawn by using the Tri-Bolt if you can position the first bolt properly. They may try to do it here again in a second, as that full armor spawn is about to happen again in about 10 seconds, but in that last open fight, once again, ID ends up coming out on top, so he keeps the control over it. Now he's going to go back to try and see if he can beat Anthony to get to control. And actually, no, Anthony just dives into this fight. He's got the rockets, but finds himself in a poor position to take that fight for yet another occasion. So it will be ID winning yet another of these 1v1s and bringing Anthony down into his last champion, potentially his last champion in this map as well.
Yeah, that was just good rocket placement by our resident pro there, ID. And again, the experience factor. I mean, you can really see the Joes, the way they choose their engagements compared to the matches we saw earlier.
Now look at this as well. ID just lines up that mid-air rocket shot to close out on the map there. Anthony goes down so far. Joes, unfortunately, have been no match for our resident pros as the Hong claims this match.
Yeah, but you know what? I think these Joes are showing a little something. If they had, like I said, the proper training and practice, and I really think they need to focus a little bit on the real fundamentals. Like I say, you can see if you compare it to our earlier matches when we had the pros, the decision making in regards to how they're engaging, when they're engaging. You see the Joes are more like, I see my enemy. I gotta go after him. Yeah. Like I said, we were talking before, speed chess. Like I said, is the comparison I make with Quake. You really got to be thinking several moves ahead, and whoever can do that, like I said, is really going to dominate the match.
Absolutely, we saw the Hong able to take that match with flying colors, so it seems the pros hold strong in these matchups, and they are going to be able to claim them here today. But Anthony put up a pretty good fight there. We saw him having some good moves, like I said, just a little bit over-aggressive, just needs to hold back, take a breather, and choose the right time to take that duel. He was hitting some good shots. So.
Yeah, I thought his railgun he definitely hit some shots. I bet were probably surprising our pro there. But again, because he chose the wrong situation to engage, he actually hit some good shots. I felt like he could have backed off, got another different position, and maybe got some items there and changed the look a little bit. But he just had to go for it. You can see it. He sees his opponent and he had to go right in.
Especially towards the end there, he just ends up getting set up for just absolute destruction, unfortunately, as the rocket launches him into the air, and then the final rocket right to his face as he's trying to fall down into the little pit there.
That's just experience with the rocket launcher, being able to read the trajectory. Once you take somebody in the air, it's actually a very common technique. The Quake players, we call it bouncing. You place the rockets down at their feet, down at their ankle area, and it really throws them around, disrupts their movement, disrupts their aim. And then on top of that, because it's a set trajectory, that you can hit that follow-up shot, which is why a lot of times you'll see that rocket to rail combo, because it's a set trajectory and it's a much easier shot to take.
Yeah, if you can bounce them right into the air, it's very easy to read into their movement path and then just shut them down with an easy rail shot for maximum damage.
And like I like to point out again, positioning. Even when I played back in the day, it was like they talk about your aim, and it's like my aim. We're all human, Everybody has pretty good hand-eye coordination. The aim is a result of good positioning. And when you have the right weapon in the right position, it makes it very difficult for your opponent.
Absolutely. Well, it's not just going to be duels, once again, as we were reminding you folks before, that we're going to be having today. We'll be having a little bit of action coming up with Sacrifice as well a little bit later on. That is the new mode that's been added here to Quake Champions. An interesting take on the usual just deathmatch format there, which adds a soul to the middle, which you have to go and try to claim one of the two obelisks on either side of the map and then defend that obelisk to sacrifice it and claim a point for your team. And it works very similar to duel on a round system, best of 3. You need 2 rounds to be able to win it, of course, and you'll be able to take control of that match. But it's very different from the normal duel, as obviously it's played in a team environment where a whole bunch of new aspects come into the fold.
Yeah, like I said, the team play aspect of grabbing the soul, getting to the obelisk, but you also still have to keep track of the other items on the map. You got to run the mega health, you got to run the heavy armor, you got to power up the spawns every 2 minutes, protection or quad damage, which can really swing momentum for any team who gets that. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how the current pros implement strategy around Sacrifice.
All right, well, it's looking like we're going to send it back over to the couch really quickly for some discussion, again, about the matches that we've had going on so far today.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. I'm joined here with Dehang, another player from Team Liquid. Now, you've gotten a chance to play on the LAN experience and really kind of see what you've had. What's your thoughts on it so far?
Well, I always love LAN. I think everyone who's experienced it does, but it does feel a lot smoother, and particularly the rocket launcher, it feels great on LAN, and so, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, what's it like for you with the introduction of the Quake World Championships and everything on the line? Coming into this, what's it like for you?
I mean, it's kind of like a dream come true for like old school Quake players. you know, historically, it's been, you know, 10K tournaments, 25K, and over the last several years, it's kind of declined a little bit. So making the comeback, I mean, it's just a really exciting time.
For sure. Now with qualifiers coming up, obviously you guys are putting a lot of time and dedication into, you know, really perfecting your skills as a unit. Have you guys had a lot of opportunities, or will you be doing opportunities to practice a lot on that 1v1 duel, or do you think that the majority of your practice is going to be more geared towards that sacrifice mode?
I mean, I know Rafa's going to focus heavily. I'm going to give it my best shot. I do have some other like time-based commitments, but I'm definitely not going to undersell it. Sacrifice is more interesting to me. I always love team game types, so I'm going to basically give it my all for both.
Now, final question for you. You've obviously got to play all the different champions. You've gotten to mess with the weapons. Favorite champion, favorite weapon, and why?
Right now, it's probably Nyx is my favorite champion. You can use her invisibility defensively and offensively. It's a really interesting dynamic, you know, because when you're jumping with Nyx, they can't even hear you jumping near you. So sometimes you can actually go invisible, go pretty far, and then catch them off guard. You land that first rocket, the kill's basically yours. And my favorite gun is still the LG.
Just can't break away from it.
I love it.
That's good. Awesome. Yeah. Well, don't forget, guys, we did talk about that sacrifice mode just a little bit. We'll give you guys more information on that, as well as an opportunity to see that sacrifice mode later on today. If you're here at E3 every hour on the hour, we've got shirts being given away. Over here next to the couch, there is a desk. Not only can you pick up some shirts, but also you can sign up for the Quake Champions Beta, which is open right now. If you're viewing over at home, quake.com, sign up, get involved, get in on the action. Lots of opportunities for people to play coming up. Lots of excitement with the pros coming up real soon.
All right, thanks very much, guys. And yeah, we are going to be jumping back into that action with the pros here in just a little bit, as we do see our Beat the Pros coming up. Beat the Pros is going to be our next segment. Unfortunately, excuse me, losing myself a little bit there. Sorry about that. Beat the Pros is going to be our next segment. We're going to be having AZK stepping up to the plate. We'll see who he's going up against in just a moment here. But AZK, as we saw before, he has a little bit of learning to do himself. We definitely saw he's coming in for a few other games, so he hasn't mastered the art of Quake just yet. He has experience among a few other arena FPSs and just FPSs in general, but it's kind of bringing all of that together to formulate it in Quake. That's going to be the real challenge for him.
Yeah, I think it will be a nice challenge for him, especially if he goes really hardcore into it and wants to get better. I think he has some fundamental things to work on, but obviously his overall skill, you can see the control of the mouse, he can move around well. It's just some basic decision making I think will make a big difference in this game.
And he's going to be going up against Unholy, so we will have to see how Unholy will fare against AZK. Should be a good match. And in just a moment here, we're going to be jumping into the draft to see which champions will be picked up for this duel.
Okay, and I want to know who led Unholy into this place. If you don't know, Unholy actually has a little bit of a Quake background. So this guy goes back to Quake 1 days, so he's got a little experience. I'm curious to see how this match plays out. This is his time to shine, to see if he's just a Joe now, or if he still has some of those old skills left.
We'll see it before. He's happy to be on this stage. He's happy to play off in these matches, so we'll have to see how some of those older skills do hold up here in the new version of Quake or Quake Champions. A whole bunch of new twists added into the fray well here, but maybe he'll be able to show up and impress against AZK.
Yeah, I think you'll see a little experience from his standpoint. You'll see some compared to the other Joes we saw. I think you'll see a little better decision making. But I don't know. He's a little old now. I don't know if that mouse hand of his still works the same as he used to. So you got to go with the current pros, man. It's the new generation's time.
But you got to help us out here, just giving us a little bit of background of how long has it been since we've seen Unholy on the competitive stage for Quake?
Oh man. He goes back to when I was actually competing. So I would say 1999.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's been out of the loop for a while.
All right, well, you can see that there on AZK's screen. So we're getting into the picks now. Again, somewhat similar picks to what we've had before. AZK going to stick with his usual loadout here now. He's got the Anarchy, Soar-like picks. He's been a very popular champion so far amongst some of these pros. There's been a plethora of demos made available out on YouTube and whatnot. These pros have already been going up against each other quite a bit in the online spectrum, but this is the first time now that they're going to be doing it in a LAN environment, which of course, as we all know for FPS, this is the best environment. And we're going back over to Blood Covenant, which is our quintessential dueling map so far for Quake Champions.
And like you said, LAN, as a former player, I used to relish going to LAN tournaments, getting rid of that ping. It's the greatest feeling to me as a gamer. I know I just get a little excited about it. But yeah, I mean, LAN's where it's at, man. That's where you got to go to really test your skills. No excuses. There's no excuses.
Absolutely. So as soon as the players have loaded in and warm-up has concluded, we'll be jumping into this match now and seeing how an old pro goes up against a, well, I'd say somewhat newer one. Only jumped in over the past few years, of course. Sort of the resurgence of esports that we've had. But let's get into the match, and immediately both of our players are going to be going for their respective pickups. AZK already has himself up at max armor, and he's also got the bonus health from the mega health pickup. Unholy, in the meantime, was able to scavenge the full suit of armor, but he's going to be now finding himself in a bad position to be able to go for that mega health pickup, and AZK hunting him down. They go into an open battle here at this point, and oh no! Unholy puts himself into such a bad position, so AZK is going to claim the first kill, just destroying Unholy in that corner.
Yeah, again, proper weapon selection. Running around with that railgun out like that is a little careless. You come around the wrong corner because of the slow reload time and everything, and you don't want to be in close quarter combat with a rocket launcher while you're using the railgun. That's a battle.
Unholy, the pickup coming back in now on the Anarchy, and there's another rail shot hitting. He slows him down as well, putting Unholy into a bad position. He's able to escape up on top of the rocket platform, though, but hits yet another shot just before he escapes into the doorway and claims the second kill on the round.
Great shot there to finish him off. He knew Unholy he knew where he was trying to run away to, and he knew he was low and took that nice finishing shot here. Unholy's in trouble now. You better pull something out. Got to do something.
AZK controlling so much of this as well. The mega health just came back up. Unfortunately, Unholy was able to hold control of that platform, so we had to back up, and that just gave it over to AZK. Some good rockets are moving in. No, we are actually going to see AZK go down, losing his first champion, and finally Unholy getting the hang of things as he's able to strike back a little bit, picking up his own first kill here. 2v1 with 3.5 minutes left to play it out, and over here for Unholy, he's going to try to be a little bit sneaky. Unfortunately, he does not have the correct position to play off of in that duel, and does lose his last champion, giving the first round over to AZK.
Hey, but you know what? You got a frag in there. He did get a frag in there. But again, you could see the that rust. Again, the decision making. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's like decision making really is the critical aspect.
Well, we're into that second round now, and the same thing. Both players just going for their pickups to start us off. But AZK, I think, is going to be hyped to hop into this battle as quickly as he can as he finds the rail. So he's got himself pretty much fully kitted out now with the usual pickups. We've got full armor and whatnot here. Lines himself up with a rail shot. Unfortunately, one's going to miss. AZK finds a nice fadeaway shot and a second one immediately afterwards, but unfortunately AZK also took a hit too. So that causes him to bail back out, and it's Unholy into a position where, granted, he's going to be able to stay alive as a result of hitting that rail, but he can't really move in and try to chase down the kill against AZK, as he's also incredibly low, so he needs to take this more tactically. And he's going to try to time the pickup there so that he can buy himself a little bit of extra time to kind of deny AZK from going for the pickup. The problem is AZK just wants to fight. He tries to use the orb to get himself out of harm's way, but unfortunately doesn't deploy it fast enough, and we will see AZK yet again claiming the first kill around. AZK is going to continue to around and go for as many pickups as he can. He's trying to deny everything as he gets the timing on the mega armor. And in a moment here, he did see when the mega health got picked up, so he's going to be able to fall back and try to time himself or just knock out his opponent before he can even go for that. Absolutely brutal with how aggressive we are seeing AZK play. And just look at the movement too, hopping around this map so quickly. Got that bridge to rail jump, and now he's going to move back in, gets himself the mega health pickup, and he has his opponent cornered. Unholy in such a bad spot. He's going to leap right in, ready for this fight. He's got the injection giving him the speed boost.
You can really see the speed of Anarchy right now. He's just working that movement right now. And the fact that actually that last frag he got, I think he caught, Unholy made a miscalculation how quickly he could come through that portal and shoot him. He got there so quick. Wow.
Those were some beautiful rails from AZK there, especially that last one. Just hops right up, and it seems like it rolls out of nowhere. So Unholy, the old pro, is not going to be able to hold up this time against AZK, as AZK does indeed claim the match 2-0.
Looks like we can say Unholy's just the Joe right now.
has a little bit of more work to do before he can once again become a pro, of course. But a good fight nonetheless, and that was the first time we saw a frag from our Joe, so gotta give congrats to Unholy for that, of course. But definitely a little bit more practice to do before he's back up to his old strength, as AZK reigns strong for right now.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with his movement with Anarchy. He was flying around them.
That was, right at the end there, that was some really impressive stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
I thought Unholy was having some problems with that. Like I said, the speed he was moving around, he was just all over Unholy in that match.
he went like bridge to rail to pick. He went like bridge to rail to pick up the rails themselves, and then swung over to Mega Health in like maybe like 2 or 3 seconds flat. So that was some incredible movement and a great pathing that he had set up for himself to be able to make that run that quickly. And that's again another example of another aspect that just comes into play here for these 1v1s is your capability to move around and set up just a run pickups for yourself across the map.
Yes. I mean, speed matters. I mean, the way he was moving around the map, it causes problems for your opponent because you can hit those cutoff spots easier. You can get to those items better. It actually gives you a little more time because you're faster to get better position. You could take a different route because you are that much faster. And like I said, I thought there were sometimes he was really aggressive there and totally caught him off guard. The speed he was coming in at him, I don't think he was ready for those attacks.
No, definitely not. So that is going to be another one of our pros claiming victory here in their match, and we'll have yet another one coming up in a moment. I think Rafa is going to be the next one to step up onto the stage to take on one of our Joes, and we'll have to see how well he fares. Judging from the performance, though, I think Rafa is going to look pretty good. He seemed to be definitely the most in shape, even amongst our pro duels so far.
I can just say from personal experience, I've played some games online with Rafa and Quake Champions, and the man is a beast. Man is an absolute beast. Annoyingly good, as I like to say. There's some moves that he does on me, and it just leaves me shaking my head, man. So, yeah, the Joe is definitely going to have his work cut out for him. Maybe Rafa will play with him a little bit, and have some fun with him. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to give Rafa a little bit more of a challenge. Like I said before, I know we had some surprises waiting amongst our Joes, so maybe one of them is going to want to step up to the challenge to try and take on the current QuakeCon champion, of course, but there may be a new QuakeCon champion in just a few months, so he's going to have to practice up if he wants to hold that title going into the first QuakeCon of Quake Champions.
Yeah, like I said, it's an all-new game. I feel like with the duel format, mistakes are punished. You only get 3 champions per round, so things can turn really quickly. So I think Rafa really has to make sure he trains, and you can't take anybody lightly. Like I said, this is a new game. You don't know who's going to come out, who's going to new players, maybe some old players, some variations in their style because of the game changes from previous Quakes. I'm very curious to see if he can keep his QuakeCon run going, and again, in another year and a new game.
All right, well, while we are getting some more of our matches set up, we're going to send it back over to Bill for a little bit. Bill, take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. Just wanted to remind everybody at home about the Quake beta that is open and available. Again, we've talked a lot about how there is the opportunity to show up to the event, get in on the action with the LAN experience on stage. We've also got the desks to make sure that you can sign up. But if you are at home, you can go to quake.com. There's all sorts of action that you can get on. They did just launch a new update, new maps, new character, BJ himself from the Wolfenstein series, as well as that new tri-bolt weapon. So make sure you do get in on all of that action very shortly. We also are going to be having some giveaways on stage as well. We've got gushers throwing out food, go without lots of candy. You can get your sugar rush going on, as well as some opportunity to get the new Astro Gaming A10 headset. They announced the information on this on Monday. It's affordable. Before you get the chance to get the upgrade to the A40 or the A50 wireless, you get that opportunity to get something rugged, something durable that does not sacrifice the sound quality that Astro Gaming is known for. So make sure that you not only check them out while you're here at the expo, as well as this opportunity to get one here on stage with the activities that we have. But it looks like we're going to get right into the action very soon. Casters, it's all you.
Well, wait, oh, hello. There we go. We'll get you set up there real quickly. So, welcome back. Well, we're coming back, folks, and like we were saying before, we have Rafa getting set up for his next Pro versus Joe segment. The Pro is getting warmed up. We're just selecting our Joe, getting him up onto the stage, making sure he's all comfortable and ready to take on the current QuakeCon champion. That is the ultimate challenge here, our Pros versus Joes. So we'll have to see how that ends up going here. And as we've been discussing, Rafa is definitely not a player to be trifled with. So we'll be expecting some fun, I think, from him in this match, and we'll get to see how creative he can get with some of these kills, maybe.
And I think it's a great experience for the Joe. I'm sure these guys are fans. You know, they know who Rafa is if they play a little bit of Quake. You know, and so that's just a great experience. You don't get to play players like this every day. So if I'm, you know, just a regular guy playing Quake, you know, I would look forward to getting on that stage and just playing it. And even though I know I'm just going to get worked, it doesn't matter. It's just all for the experience, the fun. And you know, you can say you stepped in there with the best.
I've been a little bit disappointed so far in our pros, as we're going to be taking a look at them now, just entering them up on the stage, of course. But we haven't seen any gauntlet kills coming out just yet. We haven't seen any players attempting to get up close and personal and picking up just a little bit of a humiliation medal.
Maybe our pros are being a little nice. You know, they don't want to get too nasty with these Joes, but. Maybe, like I said, one of the things I always said about Quake is you don't want to underestimate anybody. You don't go easy on people, 'cause that's how you lose matches. So it's just kind of good to keep in that constant going at it 100% attitude. I just think that's how I used to always play, and especially when I played normal players, I'd lay into them to let them know that I am the pro.
Well, we saw the one gauntlet kill, actually. I think it was the Rafa versus Id game, actually, where Id was able to, using the double gauntlet, actually, on Blazkowicz, he was able to move in and knock out one of Rafa's champions back in the duel there with it. So we've seen it at least once so far.
That was an entertaining kill, for sure. But I want to see what this guy does. Let's see what he has now. This is Kamikaze, I think I saw his name.
Yeah, Kamikaze, I believe, is his name. So, and he's wearing a Miami Flamingos jersey. So I'm curious if he's coming in representing from that team at all. That's a team I know that has an existing roster of Counter-Strike. So maybe he's coming in from that roster to test his luck. We'll have to see how those skills hold true. Quake, very, very different game than that. Much more faster pace. So
it's definitely its own animal.
Yeah, much more different skill set, to say the least, based on my experiences in transitioning over to it over the past few weeks here. So
yeah, it's not an easy mountain to climb, and it's honestly probably one of the most frustrating yet rewarding experiences to get better at Quake, because like I said, it just feels like sometimes when you're playing against a player who's really on top of you, it could just be the most frustrating experience ever, because you feel like you can get nothing going. But if you have that right mentality of improving and realizing that, try to recognize the situations that, you know, made you lose that game, and just, you know, you can't take these losses too hard. Like I said, none of these pros on the stage all started out as a Quake god. You know, they had to climb their way up the ladder and take their share of beatings, just like everybody else has.
And there's nothing more satisfying when, after all of that work to finally, you know, figure out all the skills, that you end up winning your first couple of duels and you really start to feel like you're actually sort of powerful as a player, like you were able to control the map, you were able to outwit your opponent, not just outfrag them, and really, you know, just dominate control of that match there. That's a really great feeling that, for me personally, I haven't been able to get in other games.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, it's frustrating yet rewarding, because you feel yourself like improving, just gradually over time. And like you said, all of a sudden it'll just seem like it happened overnight. You'll get into a match, you'll control it, you'll run somebody, and you're like, wow, I am getting better at this game, you know, and that just encourages you to do even better. Like I kind of compare it to, like I said, to going to the golf range. You know, you hit 40 bad shots, but you hit a couple good ones, and it's like, oh, look, that's what I can do, you know, and then it keeps you swinging, it keeps you going at it.
Well, the players are loading into the map now with the draft completed, so we will have to see how Kamikaze faces off against the current QuakeCon champion. It's Rafa. Let's get into it and see how things go. As it takes Kamikaze a moment there to find his bearings, so could be an interesting start for him. Rafa wasting no time getting into that fight here, but Kamikaze also trying to fight up close there. That Dyer not very well placed. He ends up in a corner. Will be very easily taken out by Rafa to start off this match.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little delay getting started there.
So, with Rafa having full control here, he's also decided to play around with Blazkowicz, which is champion. I don't think we've seen him try to pick up just yet in this matchup. It's going to be a little bit of fun to be had with the dual wielding. He's camping around the Mega Health pickup, not going for it just yet. Wanted to time it properly when his opponent tried to challenge. Instead, he could deny it for a bit longer. There we go. There's the dual wield. Wasn't even needed, though. He already had Kamikaze so low. Now he has that dual wield, but unfortunately, it's only for a few seconds, and the combo kill is perfect to end it. Rafa, a showmanship. That's so beautifully played.
Yeah, a highlight reel shot right there. just got to tip your hat. I kind of chuckle a little bit because I see shots like that, and it's just, it really is, wow. You got, I mean, like you said, you got your work cut out for you playing guys like this.
It's almost like he's just going through the motions here and lining up these shots. So much rehearsal for him, and now jumping into the second round, he's going to try to use a different champion this time as he moves over to Clutch instead. There's that big robot, big hitbox, so maybe some opportunities for Kamikaze to do a little bit of damage here. But ultimately, Rafa, with the way he looked on our first round, it's going to be rough for Kamikaze to try and actually do a little bit of damage here to the current champion.
Actually, I got a little personal story when I was playing Rafa once. He busted out Clutch in a duel on me and totally turned the tides, and I think I still have nightmares about this character.
Oh. Just a direct rocket, and that's all Rafa really needs, and that immediately takes out the first champion. He's going to get knocked out there for Kamikaze.
That's just good game sense. You know, that's what these pros can do, and they'll predict where you're coming, and they just have the rocket waiting for you.
Continue to try to deploy those rockets into the face of Kamikaze. Just a few pickups needed. Just a couple hits here and there in that last duel, but now he's going to find himself right in the face of his opponent. This is where the shield comes in. Now, he's not completely immune when he has that shield up. You may have noticed it. When he was firing shots, the shield actually does go down for a few seconds. So it's not just an outright barrier you can use in every 1v1, as you have to decide when you want to use it. Oh my goodness! I couldn't even finish my sentence before he got the third kill. Rafa shutting it down so quickly. And Kamikaze, unfortunately, there's not a lot of response from him.
Yeah, it's just great. You know, that's just great rocket placement from Rafa there. You know, you can really see why he is one of the top players. I mean, Joe had no chance there. He was all over him in that match. And like you said, even though the clutch shield does come down here and there when it shoots, it's very hard to time, you know, when it's going to come down, especially. It gives them an advantage. Even though it comes down, it's like you can walk up with a rocket launcher. You know when you're going to shoot. Your opponent doesn't necessarily know. So it's really hard to time that. You can really push somebody with that shield.
Absolutely, and you really have to make them, kind of worry about a whole nother aspect that gets added into the duel there in those direct opens 1v1, and that's one of the benefits of playing clutch. The negatives, though, yeah, you have yourself with a huge hitbox, and you're a lot slower, I think, as well on the clutch than a lot of the others.
Yeah, you're as well basically the size of a house.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're walking around, you're definitely a target. So that's why he has the bigger stack.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, you got to be careful when you engage in clutch. Even though you can hit him so much with the hitbox, he's a big boy. He can take a lot of damage.
Well, it seems like, unfortunately for the Joes out there, none of them were able to smite any of our pros, so they hold on strong, and it seems like that dedication and practice that they've been putting in for the upcoming, now just announced, Quake World Championships have come through. However, we do have one more Pro versus Joe matchup to come, so don't go anywhere, folks, and we'll be having that coming up in just a few moments here. But like I was just mentioning, the Quake World Championships being announced during the Bethesda conference last Sunday. It's a huge $1 million tournament with the finals being held at the next QuakeCon coming up in just a few months, and the qualifiers for these will start in just a few weeks for the online portion of it anyway. Be sure to go head over to the ESL Play website where you can find more information about how you can actually sign up for this tournament if you're already playing Quake Champions and you think you have what it takes to qualify. And if you want to get yourself into the arena and into the fight for Quake Champions, well, go head over to quake.com where you can find all the information you need on how to sign up for the beta, which is now open all the time.
You know, and I would just point out for this tournament to give a little personal story for these new players to kind of encourage them. You know, the first tournament I ever placed in and won some money, I actually joined the tournament just for fun. I didn't know how I do. You know, I just like to play Quake. I was like, what the heck? You know, I'm going to sign up. I'll play Quake anyway. So that's why I'm saying you never know what you're capable of until you really put in the work, try to get better at the game. Because you really don't know. So all these new players, don't think you can't do it, man. You sign up, try to qualify, try to get better at Quake. And, you know, and watch guys like Rafa try to steal some ideas off of guys like that and maybe use it against them later on.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at who our players are going to be for our next upcoming match here. It is going to be Rafa, and he'll be taking on Zero Love. This is actually, I believe, one of the people helping out with the event so far. So we'll have to see. He's like kind of like the resident ESL Quake pro in a way. So we'll have to see how well he's able to fare off. He's beaten me in quite a few duels. So not sure if he's going to match up against Rafa, but this guy definitely has a little bit of experience anyway.
That's good. So he'll have the basics down in terms of
definitely.
timing items and running around. But man, Shane's a tough nut to crack. I'll just tell you that. He really does make great decisions. He really does. So Zero Love's got his work cut out for him. But hey, like I said, maybe he can snake another frag. We can see another frag in one of these pros.
Yeah, so far we've done 4 matches, I believe, and only 1 frag was claimed, and that was by Unholy, a player, as you mentioned before, which has a bit of a history in Quake. And even he was only able to get 1 frag against AZK in that matchup there. AZK seemed to be too quick for him as he was hopping around. That was probably some of the fastest play we'd seen so far, as he was just going all over the place on the Anarchy champion.
Yeah, I wonder if AZK got the memo that, you know, that was Unholy and he's an old Quake player, and he's like, well, I'm going to go really hard at this Joe and teach him a lesson about how the new players, you know, play the game.
So, again, as we were mentioning before, the draft is how all of these duels start out. This is something new that's been brought in for Quake Champions that for the old Quake players out there may not be too familiar with. Since there are the champions now, you do have the opportunity to do a split-up pick between you and your opponent, and based on the picks your opponents do, you may be able to either just go with your own picks, go with the champions that you're strong with, or based on some of the picks your opponent have done, try to counter pick, maybe do a champion that has a little bit of an edge over one of the champions that your opponent has picked.
Yeah, that's, like I said, the critical aspect, the counter picking. I'm very curious, especially as the game evolves. You know, you're going to get more game time. These pros are going to get more game time. Just the general public, and you're going to see all kinds of different combinations of champions. I really don't think there is a quote-unquote meta really right now.
Very open right now.
Yeah, it's very open, and I really do think it depends on your play style. I think some people favor the lighter champs, some people like the medium champs like Ranger and things like that, and maybe a heavier one with Sorlag. But as you saw with AZK, you know, just running around the map with Anarchy like crazy. You know, some people just love that style of movement, and that's what they want.
Yeah, it's like Anarchy, Visor. We have Nyx as well. Those are all of our really fast champions that can just dart around the map, get those pickups so quickly. But as the trade-off, for quite a few of them, they end up being relatively light on health, and they need to use their active abilities to be able to keep them not only alive, but also set them up in good positions to get the kills, as those champions aren't necessarily going to be able to take just a one-on-one fight in the open versus some of the tankier champions that we often see picked.
Yeah, especially in close quarters combat. Like I said, these smaller champions are at a disadvantage from the tankier champions. Like in a rocket launcher fight in a close area, you can really punish those smaller champions. But then again, remember, the bigger champions have a bigger hitbox, so when you get the range down there and you start getting these rail battles, the smaller champions have a little more of an advantage there, and then they can have the speed moving for the kill.
So quite a few familiar faces in that draft there, but we did also see one new face, which I think we've been seeing the pros and a lot of the other players kind of pick up more and more over the past week or 2 weeks now, and that was the Galena pick, which was also recently buffed, I do believe, as well, to give her active ability a little bit more power to try and play with there.
Yeah, the issue before was that the totem was a little too easy to kill. I think it only took like 1 machine gun shot or something. So they gave it a little more health, so where you actually have to, you know, focus your attention on it. You can't just randomly run by and shoot the thing and get rid of it. So that definitely helped her active ability. It was a good champion.
Yeah, the player's now in game, so just waiting to get through the warm-up here, and then we will get started with it and see how well Zero Love is able to face off. Let's get into it, though. We have Rafa starting off directly with Galena here. Give himself a little bit more defensive capability, and they just end up in a straight-up fight right at the start here. A little bit of damage being taken by Rafa, but he can just deploy that totem to give him room, and now hops into the air to avoid being hit by the reappearance there on the Nyx. Doesn't matter, though, as soon as he spots Nyx running away, just chases it down and knocks out Zero Love's first champion.
Again, you know, these Joes, man, hyper-aggressive. Yeah. You gotta take a little more thought to how you're going to play this game.
Absolutely. Well, Rafa on the Galena there now with the full armor spawn back up. Could proceed right to it. The rail shot just barely missing, though.
That's just a good example of sound cues. You know, you heard the guy beneath him, so he dropped down to get that shot off.
Rafa's just going to continue to run around the map here now that he has really full control over the spawns currently. That's one of the issues that has been fairly constant for our Joes, has been able to try and take some of these fights, just to take even a smidgen of control across the map. Is now leaping up, finds himself in fight for the rocket spawn. He's trying to use the tri-bolt, but that's not a gun that's going to be really useful on the move. And there we go, the nice dodge from Rafa as well. It does guarantee the mega health pickup here for our Joe, as he's attempting to move back in and take a fight now that he has a little bit of extra HP, but he's got no armor right now, which is still going to keep him squishy, especially after going up that jump pad. An easy rail shot for Rafa to hit, and another one as well. Zero Love does jump up into the air, leading to the elimination of his second champion now, and he may lose the third one in a second, just barely got that full armor pickup, so he has a little bit of extra health to play with as a result of that, but he's down to his last man alive here, so he needs to be careful, as he's already somewhat low, and he's not going to last much longer than that. Rafa, 3-0, as he takes quick control of round number 1.
Got to give our Joe credit there, though. That was a nice scale bearer charge, even though he didn't get Rafa with the hit. It did enable him to get the mega health. Unfortunately, Rafa hit some great rails there to finish him off, but it was a good move there by the Joe to use that scale bearer charge and get that mega health.
And ultimately, that's where the scale bearer charge comes in just more than one way. You can use it to just rush into your opponent. You can use it defensively to escape from a fight, or you can use it there to try and push your opponent off from an upper high ground and use that to get control over one of the bigger power-ups like the mega health that he got off of that one.
Zero Love is not in a bad position.
He's going to try to rush back in, but no, there we go. Another kill finally claimed by one of our Joes here as he's able to push forward on the scale bearer and take down Rafa, eliminating his first champion. We had a little bit of a fight here, folks.
Yeah, he charged in and finished him off with the tri-bolt. That was a good play.
He's going to continue to hop around. No armor right now, though, so he's got to be a little bit careful. And reading into this one really badly, actually. Finds himself in a terrible spot and just gets taken down by the SMG. I don't even think it was the upgraded one either.
I'm wondering, I know he didn't use his ability for a second. I mean, he hit him so hard with that machine gun for a second. I was wondering if he used his active ability, but no, that was just great aim.
Now it goes down to an even 2v2. Love going over to the Knicks. Try and play with that now. This time he picked up the Knicks in round 1. Unfortunately, didn't last very long and got read into by Rafa. Rafa had perfect reads in the situation when the Knicks finally ended up taking the duel. However, now in an open fight, the 1v1 there, Rafa's not going to be in too great of a spot trying to take that with just the rocket launcher, so now falling back. There's the invisibility being utilized by the Knicks. Unfortunately, using it a little bit too early here, as now character's going to be left without it, and she's basically almost dead after getting hit by that rail shot there. Rafa trying to time this next one, but he's also going to be kind of careful as he's down pretty low. He does, as you just saw there, get a little bit of passive regen. So that's going to put him up to 75 HP, but that beautiful combo kill from Rafa just destroys the Knicks. And unfortunately for our Joe, he walks right into a perfect trap set by Rafa.
He started off good there. He had Rafa low down beneath, but once he realized, Rafa saw him go up those stairs, he might want to think about doubling back, making Rafa think, did he really go all the way up those stairs? Because as I mentioned before, if you take a straight trajectory of where, pro knows where you're going, they're going to have stuff waiting for you.
And here we go into what could be the last fight. It's Blazkowicz versus Blazkowicz, and it's not going to last very long. Beautifully done. The rocket jump into a rocket shot to take down Rafa, and he will indeed claim this match. Our pros still remain undefeated so far in these matches.
Hey, you got a nice flag going. You got to give the Joe. Like I said, the Joe. Hey, he put up a good fight. He did the best he could. Especially, I thought he had some chances, especially the scale bearer charge, the mega health. Rafa hit some nice shots. He had good position though. He could have maybe, a little more experience. Maybe he gets that frag there too.
He was a little bit fidgety there as well, going up against a player like Rafa. We saw a couple maybe early usage of the Knicks invisibility, just trying to get out of those fights and get into a better position, which actually kind of ended up screwing him over at the end of the day. So maybe a few mistimed active abilities there, but still very well fought by him. And probably one of the better fights put up so far, especially against Rafa there. But Rafa still ends up coming out on top. So all of our Joes have been able to take down the pros. We haven't seen any of those surprise players as of yet. They've just been grinding out the beta weekends and have perfected their skill to the level of these pros.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be, like I said, slim to none for these Joes. It's going to be, they're up against it, man. That's these guys are professionals for a reason, and like I said, you really have to put in the work to climb this ladder. So I'm glad it kind of showcases. You can see just how much on the next level these players really are. I mean, it's just some great play.
Absolutely. All right, well, it does look like we have a recap ready back on the stage. Let's throw it over to Rafa and John here.
Hey, so we have Shane Hendrickson, also known as Rafa. So I saw Zero Love got a kill on you. What happened there?
He used his ability better than I used mine.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah.
Nice. So we threw a little curveball at you and had you play a map you've never played, Corrupted Keep. What are your initial thoughts on that?
The map, is pretty small overall, so you can engage in battles pretty quickly, but I think there's a lot of unique corridors that allow for potential like running and hiding, so even though it is small, it's not like you can instantly get at your opponent. And I like that it's like multi-leveled for the
So
map.
what sort of tactics do you think you'll be using in the future to really combat that small arena?
It's kind of hard to say at the moment. I think fights will, with the way the map's set up, it's more based on mega for that map, just like the way the item layout is. There's more resources also next to it. There's 2 green armors compared to the red, where there's really not too much else over there. So you want to control that half. And then I'm going to find it interesting how to play from the weak side to regain control of the mega. I think that's what's going to be interesting for me.
Oh, great. So another thing, you know, for the past hour or two, you've been playing a lot of the audience members and also some of the pros. Could you explain, you know, what is the big difference between the two? And also try to give some tips of like that aspiring amateur that wants to get to the pro scene, you know, give some advice. What would be the best thing for them to do?
It's a good question. I'd say, so the big difference between the pro matches and then those against the Joes, it's not always just that we have better aim. Sometimes, you know, like Joes, they actually aim pretty well, but it comes down to what battles are you deciding to take? And a lot of like lower skilled players decide that they feel like they have to fight all the time, where you don't. Like you can kind of pick and choose, like, do I really need to fight here? Can I push all in? Do they have the advantage? Or if you don't, like, don't force it. Just reset, get an advantage based off of map control again, and then see what you can do. I'd say that's the biggest thing to look out for. And just watch as many pros as you can and just see the difference in your own play and theirs. And yeah, you can improve pretty quickly.
That's awesome. Thanks for the matches,
Thanks,
and
John.
we'll see you in the next Games of Sacrifice. We'll be right back with a short break.
Won't find all your pieces. Have a taste. I will feast on your bones. enjoy the slaughter.
Let's go, you sons of bitches. Weapons hot. Catch. Boom. I love the smell of gunpowder. In the air. Your friends are gonna have a hard time peeling you off the wall. Coming at you. Burn. You can't keep me from getting home.
Time to turn it up to 11! That was brutal! Juice it up, baby! Feeling good, man! Look out below! It is getting messy here! Coming through! Going strong and flying high, bro! Oh, that feels good.
Power before my perfection. Shield on. You cannot penetrate my defenses. Wrecked. Learn to fight, mortal. I'll grease my gears with your blood. Pitiful humans, you will all die. The machines of the future are here.
Kneel and beg for forgiveness. The gods do not smile upon you. My powers make me unstoppable. Strike down the unbelievers. May the power heal you. Brilliant. Is that all you got? I will harvest your soul. Even the devil fears me. Look to the shadows. That's where I'll be.
Face it! Shadows hide me.
another one down. They won't even see me coming.
So Quake is a first-person shooter that sort of has, historically, its earliest iterations defined the genre.
It's a first-person shooter where you're inside of a virtual arena of some kind with other people. You pick up guns, you pick up power-ups, you pick up armor, and you try to eliminate the other player or players or accomplish certain goals like capture a flag or defend a certain point.
It is just faster. It is more demanding physically and mentally to reach the highest level of play because there are more layers to this game than basically any other game.
I can remember the first time seeing somebody play a game like Wolfenstein, thinking to myself, hey, this is a different plane than I'm used to. I came from a 2D platformer background and thinking this is the future.
It was the first-person shooter that actually enabled mouse look.
Before, people would aim with a keyboard with a button to aim up and down and to aim left and right. But with the mouse came precision. You could aim precisely and very quickly, and you can do 360s and 180 turns, and a mouse allows complete freedom of expression.
It's been really interesting to see how the ESL staff has responded to being invited into the earlier versions of the game.
I can say, from a personal level, that the game plays fantastically.
The movement feels really crisp. It feels a lot like Quake 3 Arena. All the old favorites, rocket launcher, railgun, even the nail gun at times, feel incredible. So it feels like this real return to the greatest thing that ever happened to me in the form of Quake Champions.
It feels like they've very much gone back to the drawing board and just tried to come up with a newer, fresher version of all of the best parts of the Quake legacy all combined into the game.
To me personally, on a professional level and on a personal level, Quake is home. So I could not be happier that ESL is working with id Software on Quake Champions.
This is the first Quake game to come out in a really long time, and it's super exciting to have ESL so closely involved with id Software working on a Quake title.
As ESL, we see this opportunity to work together with Quake and id as the stuff of dreams. It means something to everybody here. This is absolutely the granddaddy of the esports shooter world.
The grandfather. It's what helped build all the first-person shooters up to this point. It set the bar, and then everyone tried to beat it over and over and over, and now you have the king returning. And really, I'm just waiting to see where we set the bar with Quake Champions.
Welcome back, Los Angeles, California. It's E3 2017 here at the E3 Esports Zone, powered by ESL. Now, I'm joined with the guys themselves. Now, I have to ask you, we just got done with some 1v1s with Team Liquid and some others. What did you think of that?
I mean, that was the first time that I've seen pros duel on LAN. So my eyes were glued to the TV back there. I'm so pumped to see the show match between Rafa and DeHang later this afternoon.
Awesome. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, it's awesome to have the game up here. The skill and the strategy and watching the pros use different champions, really, it was really cool.
Well, we did just get done with the duel mode, but that's not it for Quake Champions. There is now the 4v4 sacrifice mode. Now, Tim, do you want to go into that a little bit for us?
Yeah, so Sacrifice is our new team esports mode. We designed this mode to be spectator-friendly, to be team-friendly. It's very simple to follow. There's a soul that spawns in the middle of a level. Your team picks it up, you take it to your base, and you defend that base. That's it. But you will see a lot of strategy. You'll see a lot of gameplay, especially with the champions.
Yeah, and you have 2.5 minutes that you have to hold that as well. So not only do you have to ensure that you can secure it to your point, but you defend it from the enemy team. Now, flipping that from the esports perspective, what do you think that adds to the level of complexity from the team standpoint?
For one, it's great for the spectators. They have a single thing, an object that they can, follow throughout the entire of the map. As far as the esports players themselves, there's a lot of strategy being developed right now. They're trying different champions. They're trying different ways to throw the soul. There's a lot out there right now. It's interesting to see how it's developing.
Yeah, and just the complexities from the different strategies and the champions, like what you said. Now, from your side of things, obviously, as you're developing this, what do you think is, in your mind, the most important feature of the sacrifice mode from the team standpoint?
Really the strategy, having the right champions on your team and communicating with your team. Who's going to protect the obelisk, who's going to run with the soul. Teamwork, that is key.
For sure. Now, I know you want to go into a little bit. We're not quite there yet, but we do have the show match at the end of the day. Are you excited for this?
Oh, yeah. Two of the best players in North America going at it. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, lots of excitement, lots of action. Don't forget, every hour on the hour here on the floor, we are going to be giving away some Quake Champions t-shirts. You've got an opportunity to sign up for the beta at the desk over on the other side of the booth, as well as the opportunity to sign up at home. Go to quake.com for all the information. The beta is live. It's open. Get down, get going. But we've got everybody on stage. It looks like they're starting to get ready. Casters, let's get in the action.
All right, thanks very much, Jump. And yeah, now we're going to move over to the sacrifice portion here of our show matches for today. Now, as they were just explaining up on the stage, sacrifice is very different from duel. No longer is it in the 1v1 format. Now we go up to 4v4, and there's a whole new objective added into the mix. It's no longer just kill your opponent and get rid of their champions.
Correct. We've got a little extra layer of strategy here with sacrifice. So I'm curious to see what strategies and champions get implemented to basically maximize your chance to win. So I'm excited. Like I said, it's what's not to be excited about right now with the new Quake. So I'm looking forward to the matches. Let's get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to be starting off, I believe, with some pros and Joes versus other pros and other Joes. So that should be fun.
I think that's a great experience for the Joes. Now they get to play with the pro, so they got a little help there. They got some Joes on the other side they could probably, get into the mix with, and at the same time, they'll probably get some frags on those other pros on the other team. It's a team game, right? You don't know, be coming around the corner, shoot one of these pros in the back, and make you feel really good about yourself.
Just trying to pick up a few of those frags to write home about, essentially, of course, and that's going to be one of the highlight things to look forward to. But let's take a look at some of the players that we have as we can take a look at them down the line on the stage, getting ready to get warmed up. See that. Who do we have? We got Unholy coming back. I can see over there. He wants to test his mettle again.
It looks like he wasn't satisfied with that last game. He wants more. So he came by. You saw he came by our desk. I think I heard a couple excuses out of that mouth. I think when he came over here. So we'll see maybe if he was right or wrong.
Well, it's looking like AZK and Rafa are going to be teaming up with some of our Joes over there on the right side of your screen. And on the left side, it's going to be ID and Dahang grouping up with Unholy and one other Joe to see how well they're able to play off here in this 4v4. Now, you'll note as well, we were talking about before about how there is a sort of draft to pick champions. It's no longer, that's no longer a thing in Sacrifice. You are just able to freely pick and switch between these champions now when you get into this game mode. And you can obviously switch off in between deaths.
Correct. So that's also another interesting aspect about teams, like you said, different from duel. Having that freedom to pick any champion you want after any death. You can make mid-game adjustments, So, maybe a team's running a comp that's counteracting the champions. The next thing you know, you choose some different champions, and maybe it messes with the coordination and their setup. So, like I said, I'm very curious to see all the strategies that come out of this mode.
And that opens up the possibility for different roles, specialized roles for Sacrifice as well that these players can take hold of. We had been mentioning during some of the earlier segments about how you can have a faster champion that may not have as much health but can move much quicker across the map. He's sort of the handoff player to run the soul in between the obelisk if you manage to steal from your opponent, or obviously when it initially spawns, just be that guy to pick it up, get it quickly to the other point, and then focus on just kind of moving around the map and trying to pick off players or indoor players, delay them from going for the primary objective. Whereas you can also have a much tankier champion that can serve dual purposes. One, obviously, for defense, since they can just take a little bit more open fights better than some of the weaker champions can. And you also have their capability to just assault the enemy's obelisk itself. Move on there, as you do have to stand on the obelisk for, I believe, 2 or 3 seconds to fully claim the soul, take it off and then run away with it yourself. And having that huge health pool compared to some of the other champions, which only have, you know, like 75, 80 health on some of them, is going to work out much, much better.
Yeah, I think you'll find in Sacrifice there are specific champions whose abilities are really suited for this kind of gameplay. Like the Sorlag acid spit for one, as you pointed out, you kind of you have to stand on the obelisk to defend it. You got a Sorlag running around, throwing that acid everywhere. It could become a problem. Scale Bearer can charge and pull people off of it. So yeah, there's all kinds of different strategies and approaches you could take to this game.
And it's not only just that either, but in a lot of other game modes like this, you would normally have assigned points right at the beginning of the match, but that's not going to be the case here. Both of the obelisks at the beginning of each round are actually neutral. And so when the first soul spawns, it's also the opportunity for a team to go and bring the soul to your preferred obelisk, as each has their own sort of trade-off. Some have better access to weaponry, some have better access to pickups, whereas some are a little bit more easily defensible than the others. But pickup has been done, and it's looking like Team 1 is going to be able to move in and claim control over Obelisk A.
Yeah, getting that first pick on the obelisk is definitely critical. Yeah, because like you said, you get to choose where you want your battle.
So right now they're doing a great job of being able to hold on to it here, but I need to be careful as there isn't someone now on it. You can see when it's blinking there, that means that someone is trying to steal it. So they're able to take that obelisk. It's now off the point and it's on the run over to the other side of the map, and they've succeeded in including that run relatively quickly, whereas some of our other players are still fighting over here for A. This is great, as some of the members of the opponent team can just run interference and try to distract these players, keep them away from the primary objective, which should now be to move in and take control of that soul and bring it back to your obelisk over at A.
Yeah, you don't want to get too caught up in fights. As you saw even with the interview earlier with Rafa, how he mentioned, you know, you don't have to take all these fights. If you can get out of there, get to the objective, get to your teammates. You know, don't just sit there and fight.
ID and the Hung are having a little bit of trouble, or having a few problems right now, as AZK and Rafa hold good control of that obelisk. Unfortunately, the orb is going to end up going down, and it goes back into the obelisk. So the obelisk continues to stack itself up with some massive kills being done there by one of our Joes before he ends up going down.
Critical juncture coming up here in about 10 seconds. This first power-up spawn to see which team gets it. It's a big turning point if the team who doesn't have the obelisk control can really get that and you know, steal the soul with it.
It's looking like it is going to be the protection that ends up coming out first here, which can be really useful for running the orb if it's running the soul if it is necessary. But as you saw there, that was one of the faster champions. I believe that was an Anarchy being able to make that run really quick across the map in just a few seconds flat, and now it's already back over here sitting on the A obelisk with control there. And they're trying really hard to defend it. It's really only just one player. That single guy tries to move in and take control of it, but just doesn't really pan out too well. So see the soul back up on this point again. Soul Bear over here on the point, trying to hold control of it. Unfortunately, he's not able to stack up, as the soul itself still sits in the open, I believe, sitting on one of the players. There we go. Finally getting it back onto one of the points, as they do succeed in getting the soul onto point B. So they'll have control of it here. And the action continues as they continue to try and fight for it, but Dong claiming another frag there opens up possibility for them to push up onto B and steal it. They're just over 50% now, and they're very aggressively moving out, being able to pick up some more of these kills here. As they move in, though, we can see the Anarchy trying to go in and make this quick run again. He's used his active, which gives him a bit of health back, but it's not going to help him out in the long run there, as he's still completely overwhelmed in a 2v1. It seems like these guys, team number one may have to try and work together a little bit better to get control of that obelisk, because they're going in one by one, and that's just not going to work out when they're set up this well.
Yeah, it's just not a good strategy. You want to take that little bit of time to group up with the teammates and do a coordinated attack. Like I like to say, it doesn't matter how great of a player you are. If you got 2, 3, 4 guys shooting at you, you're toast.
Well, the soul has been stolen, and now it goes down into the ground yet again, but it's very quickly being run back over here towards the B obelisk, and they're up to past 90% now, whereas the other team has only managed to get it over just over 20, so these guys are looking good. However, nobody's watching that point currently, so it's going to be very easily stolen, and now they'll try to run it away. They need to get away from here, though, as if the soul ends up going down within the zone, it just goes right back onto the point, and that percentage continues to tick up to 100. They managed to escape with it, though, so now they're going to run it back over to the other side of the map and try to keep this going, but they can't make any more mistakes. They can't afford to lose this soul again, as if they do, it might as well be game over for this round, and they'll go down early on here.
It looks like it got intercepted on the way to their point there, so they're gonna have to do something here to keep them from winning on Team 2.
You're going to see an attempt at a gauntlet kill right up in the face. It's one of our Joes that moves in to take him down. I should say another one of our Joes. But now that orb finally found its way over towards the obelisk here at A itself. And Holland claims a nice kill too. But a lot of action going on to try and hold control over this obelisk towards A. Out too well, as we can see, they're trying to steal it away. It's the Scale Bearer that's managed to take it. He's going to toss that back up to a teammate. As the Soul's on the ground there, but it doesn't seem like there's anyone immediately available to intercept it. That Ranger unfortunately got cut off by an opponent. Quickly, though, the rest of these players grouping themselves up, consolidate it, and make sure that they get that orb back under their control.
Yeah, I don't think his teammate realized he threw the Soul up there for him.
And the Hong ends up in a poor position there, outnumbered 1v3, but ID picking up quite a few kills himself here too, but he is also going to be low now, just at 25 HP. He's got to be careful to make sure he keeps himself alive, but all that damage being done, and only to be picked off by AZK just a few moments later. They've got the Soul onto the bridge, but again, it's been intercepted, so now it's on its way back over towards A.
Interesting. Team 1's getting a little momentum here. You know, they've clawed back into this game a little bit. Some good defense, and they might get the win here.
They've done a great job of kind of grouping together a lot more, too. That's what I was saying is the issue before, is they kept trying to move in to try and steal the Soul away, but they were doing it in a fashion where they were just pushing on to the obelisk one by one by one. That's just not going to work. You have to group it. You have to work together as a team. Here's the issue, though, with this team playing as aggressive as they are, is they didn't really have anyone paying attention. This is a nice theft or attempt at a theft of the power-up here. I think actually Anarchy fails to fully pick it back up and now needs to escape. You can't take a fight versus an opponent that is fully powered up. And they now need to move around and try and locate this Soul. Like I said before, they really can't afford to let them get it back onto their point and tick up to 100.
Yeah, the Team 1 really needs to be all over Team 2 right now. Make sure, because see, they already got it on the point. They need to get there now as a group. There it is.
There was one player, I think, jumping around over towards the bridge obelisk. Unfortunately, it just didn't really play out as he, again, found himself alone, and that went back to the core issue that this team had earlier on. So, round number 1 is complete, and our red squad is going to be able to take control of that. Now, keep in mind, this is played in a best-of-3 fashion, so the blue team is not out of this just yet. They still have at least one more round to save themselves, but they need to win out from this point forward.
I think if they just work together a little better, you know, they got to get in these fights together, like you said, and really work as a group to push these objectives. So hopefully they make an adjustment.
Getting back into it already. These guys just a little bit of fragging action to start off the match, of course, but now with the Soul being spawned, it becomes absolute chaos to hold control of it here. On the ground currently, but it's looking like back under the control, and the whole team is moving together now unchallenged as they'll head over here towards Obelisk A to take control of it. Immediately, though, it's being assaulted at this point by ID as he gets it on the floor, but the rocket shot right to his face, right to his feet, I should say, to get out of there. But unfortunately goes down, and we see another gauntlet kill from some of our Joes.
That's one of those situations when you know you're going to get fragged, you're low, you got the rocket launcher, and you say, you know what, well, I'm going to make sure I put 100 damage on you on my way out.
Well, Point A still holds control of the Soul, and as it has been so far for this entire round. He's going to try to move in, and their opponents tried to steal it away, and you can see there again that Scale Bearer moving in to try and take it. They have succeeded on taking the Soul outside of the point, but they're being chased by multiple opponents. They've got to be careful. That's a lot of damage they're going to end up eating up here if they're not careful about it. He does not have a whole lot of assistance to be able to support that, but they complete the run. They get the Soul back over to Obelisk B. At the moment, though, it's not being very well defended. Just one player sitting on top of it, trying to keep it out of the hands of their opponent, so it's easy for the Scale Bearer to walk on, and beautifully done as well. That's Rafa lining up the shot against ID. And with that, able to steal the orb away and just tosses it up to a teammate so that he can make the run. He's going to be a lot better suited for that as the Ranger has the extra speed.
That was an excellent pass up to the bridge. Looks like, because he had that low position, which isn't very advantageous, especially for getting away. But he had his enemy in high ground, and he made a nice pass to him.
So, Soul's still out in the open for right now. However, it is looking like these guys still managed to hold control of it. Oh no, it's gone down though, with it right at the power-up spawn too. So it is looking like our Ranger has managed to take control of that power-up. So he's got himself a little bit more freedom now. He can get extra aggressive. He can jump into these fights and not to worry about going down so quickly since he has that extra power-up to play with. But meanwhile here, AZK stuck in a 1v2. He's doing all right. He was able to hold on, but just can't survive for that last kill. Thankfully, I believe he had a teammate come in just seconds later to be able to trade that back out.
Yeah, it's interesting, the protection pickup. That is very critical. It reduces damage by a ridiculous amount. I mean, you're pretty much running around. You're a constant tank. it takes so much damage to take you down. I think a rail will only do like fully zoomed in, powered up, like 15 damage at that point or something.
Nice lockdown by Nahang there, moving in, able to secure himself a great spot. Unfortunately, the soul goes down to the ground, just throws it to his opponent there. And now he's going to run it right back over here towards Obelisk A to try and get it onto the ground and start taking them back up. They still have a hefty lead over here for the players that control Obelisk A. Well over 50%, whereas I believe their opponents are in a similar position as they were in the last round, still down at around 20%.
One of the things people need to understand, maybe that was a little bit by accident, that soul throw, because you can't use your active ability when you have the soul up. So maybe he was in a fight thinking, oh, I need to use this active ability now. Oops, I threw the soul.
We've already seen players try to get actually creative with that limitation, though. Specifically on Scalebearer, we've seen quite a few times people will toss the soul into the open and then actually charge into the soul, picking it back up and giving them obviously the huge speed boost that comes with it. Well, Dahong's going to find himself in a bit of a rough spot here. He's picked up one kill, but so low HP, and on that jumper there, it's going to be easy frags for Rafa to be able to claim that trade out. And now 93%. And with the team having full control of it, it's looking good for, I believe, Rafa's squad to hold control of this round and maybe just claim the whole match. But ID going to move in here, trying to hold on to it, but AZK denies, puts it onto the crown, and he's got a huge amount of damage just in this one life. He'll finally go down. They're trying to contest it as it's on its last percent, and they just managed to steal it off of the point. But now, for the first time so far in this match, we've got the quad damage coming back in, and it's in the hands of Rafa. That's a dangerous combination.
Yeah, it was a good steal, though. AZK, man, you know, the way he jumped in there, he did some major damage before that steal. But yeah, watch out. It's a Rafa quad run now, so.
He's already gotten a good 3 to 4 kills since he picked this thing up, so he's a monster not to be trifled with. As him and AZK are going to try to run their orb back and be able to claim this round as well. All they have to do is toss that in, and assuming no one's there contesting it, which, well, they're not going to be now after ID just gets destroyed in that fashion. But Obelisk A, as you just heard, is going to go down, and with that said, Team 2 is going to claim round number 2, and they take this match 2-0. Rafa, AZK claim victory here.
You can see there on the scoreboard some of the dominant play from Rafa, going 35 frags, only 11 deaths. AZK also followed up with a nice score as well. They really have that other team on their heels if you look at the scoreboard just in terms of the frags and deaths. And again, the other that could be a result, as you said earlier. They were kind of running in one at a time. Probably could have done a better job of grouping together and attacking together on that obelisk.
Yeah, that definitely seemed like it took our second team to take quite a bit of time to sort of get themselves together and kind of get the ropes behind things and how to play together as a team. Whereas with AZK and Rafa, they seem to know exactly what they were doing with their team right from the start of it, and they executed that beautifully. I think they got both of the initial soul pickups on the beginning of both of those rounds. They got the obelisk control that they wanted to get, and with just all those options available, along with just the superior skill that was coming out from those two individual players, it seemed like there was no stopping them except for a few moments there in that map.
Yeah, the critical, again, the ending when they let Rafa, when Rafa got the quad damage, they were in trouble because they were already, the obelisks were getting close to capture point, the sacrifice point. And, you have Rafa running around with quad damage. I mean, you got to make that coordinated attack as a team, especially for the power-ups like quad and protection. You need to drop everything. Don't worry about where you're going on the map now. Get with your teammates, whatever weapon you have, just get there and try to run interference and get that power-up.
Yeah, absolutely. That was only the first of many matches that we do have to come for today, folks. So be sure to stick around. And for those of you here in the convention hall, so I believe that means that we do have a few picks coming up here in just a few moments, and to be able to do that, we are going to send it over to Bill on the stage.
Thanks a lot, guys. Well, they're giving shirts out over there. I don't think, no. You need to do the sides. There we go. That's how we have it. All right, so we're going to bring on Mr. 04 here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we've seen thus far today. So we're going to have that. And also, don't forget, after we finish this little set right here, I think he's getting his hair fixed up. He's got to make sure he looks good before he gets on stage with you guys. We are going to be picking some more individuals to come on stage to play. So for that to happen, we need seats. We see people coming in from the side. So if you see a couple seats in between, let's scoot together. That way we can give an opportunity for the others to have that. And actually, I'm getting word we're gonna be able to pick some of that right now. So we're gonna need excited people. I saw you guys getting hype about the shirts. If he can get you hype about the shirts, then you should be able to have it with a guy with the microphone. So let's get up, let's get excited. We need some people. I need to pick some people. Let's see, how many are we gonna get to pick? All right, we need something. We need something. We need something. All right, there we go. So we'll get one here. Come on out, come through, and file. We're picking 4, I'm correct? All right, we need one. Yeah, we need one here. All right, we need 2 more. 2 more. I'll grab one from over here. I need excitement, I need something. Come on, guys. Come on. All right, we'll do the white shirt right here. Yeah, come on through. And then we'll pick one more from all the way on the other side. All right, that's some avid yelling, come on. That's some yelling, there we go. All right, so they're gonna get you guys set up. Now don't forget, every hour on the hour, we're giving away some t-shirts, we're giving away some swag so you guys can kind of hang out and have some fun. We've also got the sign-ups for the beta. It is live, you can get on the action right now. Sign up at quake.com if you're looking at us at home. Go over to the desk and sign up and you can get your code to get on the beta action. They're gonna sit down, they're gonna get ready to play with the pros. We're gonna kick it back to the casters to get things started.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Jump. So as you saw, our players have been picked and our next match should just be starting off in a few moments. Not only can you head over to quake.com to sign up for the beta, but also you can head over to ESL Play to figure out how you can sign up for the qualifying stages of the Quake World Championships, a $1 million prize pool event that is going to be finalized at QuakeCon coming up in just a few months. And the qualifiers, the starting run to get yourself in the running to make it to that QuakeCon finals is going to be coming up in just a few weeks. So go ahead over to ESL Play, and of course the link's down here below as well to find more information on how you can sign up to qualify for this incredible event to kick off Quake Esports.
Yeah, man, Quake Champions, where it's at. Can't wait for QuakeCon, you know, all the qualifiers, all the build-up, the excitement. I can't wait to see the event. I really do. I mean, $1 million, I mean, that's just insane, especially because, you know, I'm one of the old school kind of players when, you know, $1,000 here, $2,000 there. You know, $1 million is like, wow, it's almost like I almost want to tear these, you know, the headset off and get over there and start practicing. That's
hop right in.
Yeah, it's hop right in. That's the... People, I mean, you got to sign up. I want to see some new players. I want to see somebody challenge Rafa. Come on, guys. You know, just show us what you got.
Well, it's been growing, of course, all across the world and across many other games, and now it is finally Quake's turn to come back. It's the godfather of esports, and now it's finally returning with this new version of Quake. So I'm sure we may see a lot of the old faces come out of the folds and see if they're able to challenge now some of these newer guys that are showing up to the table as well. And I'm sure we're going to see at those finals, it's not only just going to be duel, we're also going to be having sacrifice championships there as well. So be sure to get your team together. That's another new aspect that is coming into the fold for that QuakeCon championship.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting too because it really is kind of a worldwide championship. You're going to have players coming flying in from Europe, bringing the top players from Europe. You're going to have players qualifying here in North America. You're going to have the top pros, new pros, old pros. You know, the new amateur who wants to be pro. You know, I'm very, very excited for the tournament. It's a great time. It's a great time to be involved in esports.
All right, well, let's take a look at our players now as they have sat down and they're just getting ready to hop into the match. And once again, is going to be the same teams in terms of our pros, I do believe, but we are going to be mixing up the Joes quite a bit. So, Easy K and Rafa playing together, and they will be going up against ID and Dahong, who just lost that last match. So maybe they'll have some redemption to come in just a few moments here if they're able to recruit their Joes, line them up, get them in shape here for the brief, you know, like 30-second to a 1-minute tutorial, I'm sure, as far as these guys are going to get, and just see how well they're able to frag out against obviously the team which just beat them in the last run there. Yeah,
maybe they might want to do, like you said, a little pre-game huddle, kind of come up with a strategy, you know, and I would recommend shooting Rafa first. That's a good advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Just try to get him out of the match. Don't let him get the quad again. That's what pretty much sealed the deal in that last match.
Yeah,
there.
You definitely don't want that man running around with quad damage. He's already hard enough with regular damage. He doesn't need 4 times damage.
Well, we can see the players now. Rafa just giving his best advice and whatnot to some of these other guys. It seems like that guy on the left there is pretty hypey playing with Rafa, to be honest. Whereas over there in Dahong and ID's camp is a little more cool. It's a little bit more relaxed, taking it a bit more seriously maybe. Something on the line.
Maybe.
Not much, but...
Maybe they have some hidden strategy. Maybe they did have that pregame huddle.
Poker face.
And they're zoned in, ready to go right now.
Well, we'll have to see the map that these guys are going to be playing on too, of course, as there's plenty of more map options, some of which have just recently opened up with the update. There was a new map added for Sacrifice. It's been pretty fun to play on so far. Not only just that, but there was a new champion added for those that missed it on the announcement last Sunday. BJ Blazkowicz from the Wolfenstein universe, now coming into the fold here in Quake. But it looks like we're live, folks, so let's get into it and see how the action will unfold. The initial fry going out as these teams try to move out around and get control of some of the bigger weapon spawns and the power-up pickups before that soul goes onto the ground, which it just now has. And we're going to see it picked up. Who has it? Just yet, we don't know, but it's looking like our red team managed to take control of it, and there we go. It goes on to point A, so they're going to have to move in and take control of it. But they're already here. Look at this. They have a great presence. That Ranger already on the point. He didn't stick on it for the full duration, though, so he hasn't been able to steal it just yet, and it seems like they managed to take him out. So with full control gained, it's looking like ID's team is going to be able to start off with the advantage, but it may not be for long. It's being challenged, and there we go. The soul's been stolen, and it's running away quickly through the portal room there. They're going to try to get out. Rafa with the quick spin around, though, actually took out Dahong, trying to chase him, and now it's up to id to stop him from running it all the way over to the other point. Missed shot, they pass it off to a teammate, and now they can just take the fight right over here on top of the Mega Health, where Rafa is just going to absolutely destroy ID.
I think they got a little careless there. You know, they had the point, they had the defense all set up, a couple guys moved off it, and they came in quick for the steal.
Nice shot from Dahong, though. Takes out AZK, but he's got to run it up here quickly. No, actually! Tosses out the soul, making it look like he made the run, but then jumps out to pick up a second kill. Unfortunately, his point is all under the control of the opponent right now. He can't safely throw that in there. He has to wait a couple of extra seconds before he throws it in. Even when he does, look at that. There's the Ranger just hiding behind the obelisk, already ready to take that soul and try to run it out from the other site.
Great coordination by the team, as we were commenting multiple times, fighting together. You know, he went to try to get that obelisk, and 3 enemies just sitting there waiting for him.
Well, Dahong's team does manage to have somewhat limited control over the orb or the soul right now, so they are going to be able to take it back onto the point. But look at this, there's no defense being put up at all, just time after time again. The players from Dahong's team are nowhere to be seen defending the actual obelisk itself, so the soul just continues to be stolen, and they're actually not gaining a whole lot of percentage here because of that.
Yeah, he needs a little help there. He's kind of being a one-man army trying to hold off the enemy team. But it looks like they got a little better coordination right now. It looks like maybe they did have that huddle, because they're really fighting together and staying on the point a little better than they were in the previous.
Well, they managed to get it off, but now they actually have to run it over to the other obelisk right now, which they're going to succeed in doing here. And finally, Point B is going to get itself stacked up a little bit, but maybe not for long. You can see that there. They're very quickly heading over to Point B, but here comes the dual wield, and I believe it's going to result in almost a triple kill right here. He does have to back away as his health gets a little bit much damage in, and ultimately the Sarlacc just barely gets out of the fight there, and leaps into it as Dahong picks up another kill too with his rail.
That was a brutal double LG. I mean, you could just see the people melting in front of him. That's an amazing ability.
That really shows the power of the dual wield there. You can get it going with a lightning gun. There's almost no challenging it. Also a gauntlet kill there between those two players trying to fight in a corner on the Ranger itself. For Team 2 here, just having that problem controlling it. Rafa's team specifically trying to move in and get back overall control so they can steal this soul away and take it back to their obelisk.
Very evenly matched so far. I mean, it's anybody can win this game right now. It really is up for grabs.
Yeah, the percentages are relatively even here, so Dahong and ID really need to get themselves onto the point. At the moment here, they are kind of letting them catch up, but Rafa and AZK doing a great job, along with the rest of their teammates as well, of defending this. But now with the power-up spawn coming in, that's a whole new issue that they have to worry about. And they may not be able to as easily defend this point anymore, unless they decide that the power-up's just not worth going for.
No, then you got to go for the power-up. This is going to be a critical pickup, whoever gets it, especially with how close the percentages are.
Well, with the orb now being stolen, the soul now being stolen, it's going to be sent over here towards this point, but I think it's actually been stolen back, so we'll have to see where exactly it results in tossed down at here. As they continue to deploy the, I think this is one of our Joes here. It's deploying that maybe a little bit too early. Good strategy, just maybe not the best timing to do it. As we see there, that's going to be massive damage being done by Dahong now that he's picked up the quad here. trying to roll around the map, just do as much as possible, but unable to locate the orb right now. It's just hopping around. Hong almost getting it back into the point, but now he steals it away and is going to take it over here towards A once more.
A good strategy you'll see sometimes in Sacrifice, the enemy team has the quad damage or the protection, and your team has the soul. It is kind of a good idea to hide out, not necessarily take it to the obelisk right away.
This is that same issue again here for ID and Dahong's team, is that unfortunately they don't have a whole lot of control over their actual obelisk, so they've been able to retrieve it plenty of times and actually deny the attempts to seal it away, but they can never hold constant control because of the fact that there's just so much aggression being thrown at their obelisk. They need to find a better way to control that before they end up losing it completely, and we end up seeing Rafa and AZK's team take the point here to start off again.
That's some great shotgun play by Dahong right here. He might even get this kill here. It's going to be really close.
Basically one more hit and he's done. Finds himself a little bit of extra health though and just decides that the fight is not worth going for. But the soul, I think it actually got tossed out of bounds, so it respawns back in the middle. And now they're going to have to fight for it again.
This reset's going to be very interesting. Like I said, this is a very close match. It's anybody's game right now.
Rafa picking up a few more kills into Dahong, just trying to hold the line. This is where the Tribal actually ends up being really good. It can hold these kind of rough choke points and prevent players from moving in. And if they do, they just get ripped to shreds by the explosive bolts. And there's another one as well, a direct hit against Rafa. And Dahong claims another kill, and it's just in time as well, as he was only at 24 HP as he tosses the soul back into his team's obelisk. And there's the quad. He needs to go for that one there. He let his opponent get it, but the beautifully timed spit just denied Rafa of being able to do much with that quad. So it goes back onto the ground and into the hands of one of his teammates.
Yeah, that was a critical quad pickup right there. So far, from what I'm seeing, if they pull out this round, Dahong is really kind of the MVP of this round, from my view.
There's ID coming in to assist now that he's got the quad in hand. He's already up to 3 kills that we've seen on screen with it. And he stole the orb back, and he stole the soul back as well. So he's managed to get that over here to his team's obelisk. The fight's going to continue. You can't really take that battle right now, though, so he actually goes down. The quad only has about a second left on it, though, so it should go away relatively quickly. But now they're going to steal the soul away, and whoever's right here, Rafa, is doing a great job of distracting his opponent and just letting the soul run itself away over to the B obelisk.
Yeah, just running a little interference there for his teammate. You know, the objectives are what matters, not necessarily all the frags. Although the frags are certainly a contributing factor to getting the win, it's not everything.
Absolutely, and now Dahong trying to move in to steal the orb once more here. He's managed to knock out one player. He still has one more to go and trying to do it with the Tribal. Unfortunately, it's not great at taking down moving players on an open field. So as a result of that, he is going to find himself dead. And now Rafa's team is going to be able to hold on to their obelisk for a little bit longer here. They're continuing to push that percentage up to around 80% now, but it was stolen again. So Dahong's team is going to try to run it back and see if they can get back control over this round.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is a very intense match right now. It's just going back and forth. It's really hard to say who's going to win at this point.
So over to A, and actually a pretty good defense matrix set up this time here now for Dahong's team. As this was the problem before, is they were never really great at holding it once they got it onto the point. They could only just deny a few players here and there, but they're being pushed on very heavily. At the end of the day there, a nice hold from Rafa as he picks up that double kill is going to allow him to now seal the soul yet again and just run it over to point B.
That was just amazing lightning gun aim right there, taking those players out the way he did.
Got to be careful though, there's quite a few enemies waiting over here towards that B obelisk, but some nice assistance is going to let them run it right inside and they'll continue to push forward. Trades left and right, but Dahong ends up going massive. He picked up 3 to 4 kills in just the last few seconds, so.
And again, the power-up proving critical. You see the team there has quad again. May swing this match in their favor. They've got the 2 last power-ups have been, looks like it was that stolen.
Quad is going to get tossed back over now as we do see AZK's team trying to run it back over here. Him and Rafa get it onto their point. So they're getting very close now, 95% as they continue to stack it forward. One more opponent is going to be able to actually successfully get it off of the obelisk itself, and now running it over to the other side. Only a minute remaining in this match too, so they're going to toss that in and just try to get the percentage higher than their opponent. This turns into a stalemate here, so they have that little bit of an edge going into the final seconds of the round, trading back and forth. And now once again here we see The trail coming back out, but oh, the Soul stealing again. And now they're just going to toss it as far away as they can to stop that percentage from ticking up.
What a throw. I don't know if his teammate's there to pick it up. They're trying. This is going down to the wire. I can't, wow. Just
98 versus 90. No, it's 99 versus 99%. Essentially, the next Soul to be able to go in claims it. And there we go. It heads over into Team 2's Obelisk, so they will claim control of round number 1.
very intense match. Wow, that was excellent. You know, you could see the teams really grouping up and attacking together and defending together. I think this match really showcased how powerful the quad damage, the power-up is. There was a couple times in the match where the quad really did swing momentum. And that was anybody, like I was saying, it really did seem like it was anybody's game, and it was 99-99. So. And
it's not even over just yet. Rafa's team has managed to claim the first round, but now they've got a little bit more room still to go through here, as the Hong and ID will try to trade it back and take this over to a third round, as they don't need to win out from this point forward. Soul onto the ground, and now the Hong making the run. They're once again just going to go right for point A. That seems to be his preference point here. Problem is, though, is they're running into this same issue again. They have no problem making the run, getting the Soul onto the Obelisk. It's just the second it does, there's always 2 to 3 enemies just waiting right there, immediately ready to steal it.
Yeah, they're doing the other team's doing an excellent job of recognizing, hey, Soul was stolen. You don't necessarily have to chase him. You know, just get to the point, you know where he wants to go, and set up defense on the enemy point.
Nice theft by Dahan. He was able to get it a little bit further away and causes kind of an awkward moment here for Rafa, as he actually has to use the Dire Orb to get up there, retrieve it, and throw it a little bit closer towards his point where a teammate can move in and now claim it. But again, same issue here. Neither of these teams really able to successfully defend their points so far, as they're just getting immediately stolen, so they're only getting about 2 to 3% every time they get it onto the Obelisk.
Yeah, they definitely got to do a better job of whoever can get defense down. But it just seems like it's a very evenly matched game. So I think either team's going to have a problem defending based on what we've been seeing so far, especially in that first round.
So at the moment here, Rafa's team holds dominance over control of this map for a second time now, as they're getting a lot of free percentage stacking itself up here. They're trying to move in to challenge it, but look at that from AZK. Back-to-back kills on the Rocket, and he gets so much armor from that pickup as well. He's going to be able to move in. Fortunately, he's got trouble coming, but he does have a little bit of assistance from teammates. Doesn't matter, though, as ID getting up close, gets those 2 shotgun kills back-to-back, and now is going to be able to steal the Soul and try to run it to the other side, but there's more trouble afoot here. Being challenged by one of our Joes, not too much of a match, so they're able to take that down, and now they have the quad too, as that spawned in the process of this theft.
So quad's on the ground, that was big.
Just going to go into the hands of AZK. Soul going back into control of his teammates as well, so they're going to bring that right up here, drop it onto the point, and now they've got it, but again, same exact issue, as it's being immediately challenged and stolen away. That quad is so heavily contested, it's gone back and forth 3 to 4 times now, but ultimately, at the end of that chaotic fight, the B Obelisk still holds the Soul consistently. That's going to be a lot of percentage going by the way of Rafa's team, as they're looking good to try and stack themselves up for a second round.
Yeah, quad's a great power-up to have, but it also puts a big target on your back. Everybody wants to take a shot at you and hopefully steal it. So, certainly something you need to watch out for quad. And like we saw a few changed hands a few times.
Oh, the Scale Bearer coming out of nowhere there to deny the clutch rush with the about the slashers, excuse me, with the trail there. But some nice sniping being done by Rafa. Rail shots being hit all over the place here, and is continuing to rip apart players as they try to hold control, and he tries to defend things a little bit here for when that orb does arrive so that he can steal it away. But now it's going to be dodged away.
Yeah, Rafa has just been hitting some amazing shots.
There we go, Rafa now ready to immediately steal the Soul away. In fact, he actually think he caught it, but it goes down onto the point anyway. But it should still be stolen in a moment here if they continue to keep that pressure on the point. And, oh, that was a great chance for a nice gauntlet kill there, but it's like one of our Joes just wanted to stick with a shotgun. Doesn't matter, though, as he uses the Scale Bearer charge to be able to finish off the job.
And nothing like a shotgun in the back to help you win a battle.
Well, the Soul now going to find itself in a bit of a peculiar position, but ultimately AZK is able to get himself up on top, but Dahong chases him with the gauntlet and gets a nice humiliation kill there, as neither team is able to hold consistent control. But it's been enough for Rafa and AZK to be able to keep it, at least in the general area of the B Obelisk, and as a result of that, they've stocked up just so much more of their percentage.
Yeah, the other team needs to do something to change momentum. I don't know how they're getting Rafa a little bit right now. It's part of the problem. Rafa is really just so disruptive, and you can see it when they're attacking the point. Some of the rails he's hitting, he's just putting out a lot of damage.
So Soul again out in the open here. Rafa's team is going to be trying to run it back over towards point B, and they succeed. Heavy challenge on that point, though. And AZK, as you can see there, and Rafa just ripping everyone. Just look at the kill feed. It's all them. The last 6 or 7 kills now. Dahong going to try to challenge. Doesn't have a whole lot to do it with, but he makes it work anyway. Gets that double kill of both of them, I believe, against the pros. Unfortunately, he still has to face off against so many other players on this point. And with AZK respawning in, he uses the tri-bolt to be able to move in and finally take out Dahong.
Yeah, not much Dahong. He made a great effort. You got to give him, pat on the back for that. But he was just outnumbered, and I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't kill everybody.
Well, ID moving in there does kind of bail Dahong out after he goes down, so he's able to retrieve the soul. And now they're going to toss it back over here onto their point. Still have 5 minutes to play with, so there is time to recover here as they go. So, he goes for the dual wield there and tries to save himself with the double shotguns. Just doesn't have enough health left to take that fight, hit off the shots that are needed to actually pick up that kill. So, now Dahong trying to bring out the gauntlet against one of our Joes and just gets denied by the shotgun. Rafa's team now back under control. They've got the soul in their obelisk, and they only have 10% left to be able to claim this match here. They're trying to steal it. I believe they're going to be able to get it off again, but this is getting dangerous. They have to stop this chaos and get obelisk A under control.
Yeah, the other team just can't seem to get any momentum really going. There's always 1, 2 of them getting fragged, so it's really splintering the team. And I mean, geez, look at that AZK. Oh my goodness. This is that 50 frags I saw.
That was 50 bomb getting dropped there. So
jeez,
nicely done by the team consisting of AZK along with Rafa and a few of our Joes. They are able to take control of the second map as well. So for Dahong and ID, things just not going well for them today, man. They've lost both these maps now.
I don't know, man. They're going to have to change their strategy, or maybe they can sneak over there and unplug Rafa's mouse cable or something mid-game. That might help.
Wow. Well, we've already played on 2 of our maps. There's only a few remaining here for these guys to be able to try and test out. As unfortunately, well, beyond that, then they're just going to be absolutely dominated by Rafa and AZK if they continue to let this happen. It's 2-0 so far to, of course, the Rafa and AZK team as they continue to switch out their Joes, of course. But for Dahong and ID, well, they've only, like I said, they've only got 2 maps left, so they need to try and figure out something here to be able to bring it back and at least end on an even note.
Yeah, it's something I noticed. It seemed like Rafa and AZK were really working together in tandem a lot. Maybe Id and Dahong really need to try to pair together a little more to kind of counteract, the pro aspect, and maybe shield their teammates a little bit. So, get some kills on Rafa, get some kills on AZK. That way their teammates have a little more freedom because, those Joes running into those pros and everything, it's going to split through your team. Like I said, you got half your team respawning and then the other half charging the obelisk. And if you don't get out of that cycle, you're going to keep coming in 1 at a time, 2 at a time. And you're just going to get no consistency from your team in terms of play and the strategy you want to do, for defense especially. They were just having no defense.
That's a great point, actually, considering we saw so many of those hero plays from Dahong as he was able to go in and pick up a lot of 1v2s. The problem was that wasn't really necessary because oftentimes what would happen is he would go down, but ID would come in just a few seconds later to save him. So they're going at it at a much different style of letting Dahong go and take all the fights and then having ID kind of come in to try and clean things up, whereas AZK and Rafa are doing it much more together right at the start, and they're just trying to play together as a team and focus more on that.
Yeah, and I think Dahong felt the need to push. He feels like he's got to try to make a difference. He's trying to make a play, and maybe he might want to maybe slow it down a little bit and wait for a teammate because he's a great player, but sometimes rushing in there, like you said, he killed 2, 3 guys. There's only so many people you can kill. All these shots coming at you from different directions, you're going to go down.
All right, well, we still have plenty more action to go, of course, but we ourselves are going to take a little bit of break, and in the meantime, we're going to throw it over to Bill.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm joined here with Michael, Vice President of Pro Gaming over at ESL. Now, this is the first time that we've actually seen an esports stage of this magnitude, let alone at all, at E3. What is it like for you, and what's it like being able to bring that experience to both the visitors and the fans at home?
Yeah, I've been coming to E3 for years, and I've always felt like it's missing a really strong esports component. Back probably over 10 years ago, there was actually Quake at E3, but it was much, much smaller than this. It's a lot of fun to see it like that, and especially with Quake, which is a game that brought me to esports specifically. to see esports being acknowledged this way. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and we were talking about this as well. They just announced the $1 million tournament for the Quake World Championship. With that partnership with ESL, what's it like being able to take the original, the OG esport, as they love to call it, bringing that to such a magnificent stage?
I mean, it's, for me as a Quake fan, and back when 2001, I was downloading Machiavelli's demos, the guy who's commentating here. I was learning off of his demos how to play, and now actually it's, you know, it's very different from any other tournament for me, or any other type of tournament for me, because I mean, I've been organizing events for the last 8 years or so, many different games, all of which I enjoy playing, but Quake is really where it's at. Quake is home for me, so it's very, very special, especially that in today's day and age with live streaming, Quake could be a very, very good spectator experience and could kind of unite multiple different groups of fans of different game genres, because it's like, you know, like watching UFC. Not everybody goes to get punched in the octagon, right, in the face. Not everybody enjoys that, but everybody can relate to the stories and everybody can watch it, and that's what makes it so good. So this is potentially one of the best spectator sports in all of esports.
Of course, and that kind of leads into my next question is Quake. It's been around forever. What do you think Quake does differently, the best, that makes it such an exciting esport?
I think the fact that you can see the raw skill of the players so easily, coupled with the fact that you can also almost feel their emotions. So in StarCraft, when you watch a game like StarCraft, it's difficult to tell if a player is nervous or not. In Quake, the hand movements and the cursor movements, the crosshair movements, they actually tell the entire story of a player's frame of mind. I, as a player, could tell if, you know, this guy's nervous, this guy's not nervous, this guy's calm, he's not calm, and things like that. It adds a lot to the experience, because typically when you watch an esports game, you don't get that insight into somebody's frame of mind. But when somebody's panicking in Quake, you see it. And that adds a complete different layer of, you know, that psychology to watching Quake, which is very, very different than any other esports title. And, you know, air rockets, man, air rockets.
The level of intensity and the level of focus that you have to have in Quake is unparalleled. The tagline, skill is rewarded, is about as encompassing as it can be when it comes to that. So, you know, thank you so much. Kind of final question is there anything else that you'd like to say about Quake and about just what the esports scene is doing to really build Quake champions up and give it the stage that I know a lot of us rightfully believe that it deserves?
So I think to anybody that likes Quake, tell your friends, enjoy it, tell your friends, teach them how to play. It's not the simplest game to play, but go ahead and teach them. The way you build an esport is we can do everything in our power, and so can the developers, but ultimately the community has to help build it. So go tell your friends about Quake, try it, make them play it, force them to learn it, and if they love it, it's going to be bigger.
You hear that? Sit them down at the desk, tell them to get on, go to Quake.com, get them to sign up, and then get them to play and get it on the action. Well, thank you again so very much. We've got a lot of Quake action still in sight. We're going to kick it back to the casters to get right into the next set of matches.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We do have our next game coming up here, and it is still going to be a play with the pros single. We have a little bit of an interesting twist, however, that you'll find out about in a few minutes here. But more action with Sacrifice, the new 4v4 mode that has been added to Quake, and we can see that now. We're going to be throwing in a few Twitch streamers. I'm not sure if you recognize anyone out of that crowd. But
I'm not too familiar with all the big time Twitch streamers, actually, but obviously these are all experienced gamers, and I'm sure they're going to get a big thrill out of playing with the pros, just like everybody else. I mean, it's just such a great experience, especially being, you know, just a regular Joe and getting to mix it up with, you know, Rafa and Dahang and all these great players from Team Liquid. It's just a lot of fun. I would just say have fun with it. Like I said, try to get those pro kills, man. Try to get those guys. You know, that's what you got to do. Make them work. Make them work.
Well, for those of you that haven't been with us for our previous 2 matches, it has been Rafa and AZK, the team that you see on your screen now, dominating so far, even with changing out their Joes in between these maps here. They were still able to take control of both of our first maps, and there's at least one more to go here now, and they can make it a clean 3-0, or maybe we could see their opponents bounce back a little bit, and we can see Dahong and ID at least try to take one map off of the current QuakeCon champion, and AZK working with him, of course.
Yeah, they got to make some adjustments here. They got to make some adjustments. Like I said, I thought Rafa and AZK were really good about coordinating together in terms of using their experience. They got some major quad runs there, as we saw in the last game. AZK with an amazing 50 frag score. I mean, he was just all over the map fragging people. That is a crazy score. I'm sorry.
Absolutely, 50. Yeah. And we saw some incredible moments from players like Dahong able to move in there and take on his opponents 1v2, using those abilities at the right time as well to try to change the tide of the battle and just try to throw it in their favor. It was kind of chaos for quite a bit there, though, as we saw Dahong and ID's team having, especially on our last map, really a lot of trouble able to actually control their obelisk. Oftentimes, they would pick up the soul, try to run it across the map. By the time they actually got to their obelisk, there was 3 to 4 opponents just sitting there waiting for them, and things like that just cannot happen. They need to get better control over the entire of the map here, as they're just finding themselves completely outmatched in their battles far too often.
Maybe a little bit of a result of AZK going just absolutely crazy in that game with those 50 frags. So like I said, Dahong, I really sensed, like watching those pushes, that he felt like he just had to do something. He had to make a play. Kind of trying to be LeBron James, I guess, on the team there, where he's just gonna, it's my turn, I'm gonna take the ball and I'm gonna try to take over this game if I can, but that's a tough thing to do. He's got stiff competition over there with Rafa and AZK. So
he wants to be the guy at the top of the scoreboard. Clearly, he wants to be that highlighted name. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do that for a second time here now, as we are just waiting for those players to load into the map and get the game itself actually set up. As soon as we have that started, we'll be hopping right into the match, and we'll get to see again another action-packed game of Sacrifice here.
And one of the things Team Liquid, you'll see, they're highly competitive, all these guys are highly competitive. So although this is all for fun, don't think for a second that these Team Liquid players aren't really deep down. They want to win these games.
Well, let's get into it. We already have a fight here. AZK getting himself right into a battle versus one of the Joes, and support comes in at the last moment there as well from Rafa, as he's jumping onto the Nyx for this match. So we'll see how well that works out for them. His teams, again, moving around the map, and you see that often right at the start here. A little bit of chaos as they do try to kind of go around each other and get control of some of the bigger power weapons, so they can use that to get this soul and now get their choice out at Obelisk. It's going to be Dahong's team that gets that choice this time, as they are able to run it, and they take control of point B. And he snipes Rafa just before he's able to escape down the hallway, and then follows through to take down one of the Joes too.
This guy's just amazing. What do you say to that? I mean, this guy's just coming around and just railing everybody.
He's got control over the Mega Health, so he's going to have no problem running in to pick that one up. So he gets that for his team too, and another connected shot. He's going to try to hit it again, loses his teammate here, so it's going to be a little bit of a rough situation, but that Tire Orb just messed up one of the Joes that put him right in the path of his bull rush coming out from Dahong. AZK having a little bit of trouble staying alive here too, but he has managed to kind of circulate the world here and finds himself in a position to finally take down Dahong.
Jeez, some of the shots these guys, Team Liquid, they just make some crazy shots, man. Crazy. It's a pleasure to watch these guys.
In the time of that chaos that we weren't able to see Rafa's team steal the soul away from Obelisk B, and now they've taken it over here into Obelisk A inside of this church. So they managed to have that going for them, and now they can start to stack up a little bit. They're not too far behind, only about 10% so far, and they have a really good hold going on. The problem is Rafa, very low, only has 4 HP left with just 5 armor sitting behind. Gets himself the line up there, though. Picks up a kill, but focuses in a little bit too heavily on that full armor kit, and then gets knocked out just a moment later.
I'd like to know, from a strategic sense, what Team Liquid feels is the more advantageous point on this map, because both, one side has more of the Mega Health, and then the other side has the heavy armor. So I'm curious what they think is the strong side, weak side of the map.
Well, now Dahong is going to be able to get himself quad pickup there, so he has that bonus going for him too. They're still sitting on Obelisk A right now. They need to be able to move in. They've got that quad. They need to use that to be able to take this away. One of the pros from Liquid tries to resist it, but it doesn't work out in this quad. Used perfectly, DeHong's able to move in. And you can see that too, he doesn't have the best of like guns in his setup right now, but because he has this quad, that doesn't end up mattering too much. He's able to work with it, and now he's got the rails to try and play with here. But the problem is, this showed up a lot in the last match too, but they often weren't able to complete their full run, or at their obelisk, they met too many opponents. That time, just like one opponent sitting in the way, and now he's going to be able to run it over here. Oh, he actually misses that toss a little bit, wasting quite a bit of time here. Which could have been like, 3 to 4 additional percent if he had just proceeded forward directly. So that's going to hurt a bit, but still stacking up their percentage, and they're still not too far behind Rafa's squad.
I don't know if you see what I see here a little bit is that I noticed DeHong took a little more care taking the soul back to his point.
A little bit more careful with moving that soul in between. As you can see now, the soul does get stolen again, and AZK trying to support it. He's managed to claim it now, so gonna run back away and try to chase this soul, take this soul over here towards Obelisk A inside of the church. But oh, he's gonna find himself as DeHong, nicely played, sneaks in, steals the rail, takes out not only Rafa, but he also eliminates AZK, and now fighting against some of the remaining players here. He still ends up getting knocked out there, so the Obelisk should go back into the control of Rafa's team, but got a lot more fighting to go here, and ID at range is doing massive damage with those rockets too. Lines up a few players inside and knocks out AZK. So he'll be able to move back in here and chase down the soul yet again now that he's eliminated all of his opponents.
Yeah, that was some good rocket placement. He, like I said, long-range rockets, but he placed them just so well, he was still doing damage.
Your team has the protection.
Now the protection coming in here now as ID's going to be able to pick that back up. So he's able to freely fight a bit more here as he pushes through, taking out some of the Joes and trying to look for fights against the pros. But needs to also get himself inside of the church there to try and steal away the soul and get himself into a fight. Close quarters combat, but ID's still holding on beautifully with 30 HP. Bails away, takes out AZK, and in the process of all this distraction, as ID just took so much of the attention away from the point, so he was able to move in and have his teammate go on the scale bearer and steal the soul. So now they're on their way back into the fire pits to try and get that soul onto the ground and into their obelisk.
That was actually a great illustration of how hard it is to kill somebody with the protection power-up, because you see he was in close quarters, he had people all around him, rockets, all this stuff, damage coming at him, he killed everybody.
ID trying to play up against this mob now for Rafa's team, but just can't face off against it as they're all sticking together as a team, and Rafa is getting himself kitted up on that Nyx to the extra armor, and if he can find the mega health, the extra health definitely helps with making sure that he just doesn't get 1 or 2 shot at theirs. That's often the problem. You get the massive speed, you get that really great power up. It's just that you're so squishy and can be knocked out so easily, so you have to be extra careful with the way you play and how openly you leave yourself across the map on a character like Nyx.
And you notice there when Rafa, Team Liquid's half of the team, Rafa's team, when they brought that soul back, notice they all brought it together. You know, he took his time, he made sure he had a couple teammates with him before he went in there, and then they had an actual defense team there right away.
So at the moment, trying to run that orb back as DeHong manages to get it down on to his point back over here inside fire pits, but now just trying to fight at range here too. I believe he's taking on Rafa currently, but oh, that tribal shot almost just destroys him. Thankfully, he has the extra health that he can play with and whatnot here, but now the rest of the team is moving in. Rafa, already being low though, is eliminated by DeHong. Get that going for them. The problem is, though, now DeHong left the point, and is there anyone else left there to defend it? It's not looking likely. They focus on the power up. They have that going, but now they've lost the soul, and they need to try and claim it back. Thankfully, he walks right into the path of a Joe that's holding that orb, so he gets it back really quickly and gets the combo kill into AZK.
That's where the strategy of recognizing the power-ups are coming up. It's not necessarily a good idea to defend your point at that juncture. It's better to get the power-up, the quad, the protection. Because as you see, you know, Team Liquid from Rafa, and he got the soul, and it didn't even matter.
Fortunately for Joe there, he's going to find himself in an immobile position. Not something you want to find yourself doing too often at Quake there, as it's very easy to knock you out. Just going to end up being standing still. Well, now AZK moving in. They have to make a last-ditch attempt to try and steal this orb, and denying DeHong as well. He did manage to take down his teammate, but prevented the trade kill, and now, oh no! AZK finds himself completely surrounded, so he is going to get knocked out, and the rail shot hitting onto Rafa there is going to leave him incredibly low for this next fight. They need to try and hold on to this soul, or at least distract for a little bit longer, so that the cavalry can roll in and attempt to recover it, but it's just not panning out. And DeHong's team, I believe, has been able to get back control of that soul, and now all they have to do is run it over to their point.
Yeah, this is it. They got to make a last push. This is a little turnaround from the last game we watched, so maybe they've made some adjustments here.
Indeed, and now Dahong gets their orb back onto their point as they push it in, and oh my goodness, Dahong trying so hard to defend this, but this goes back to that extra aggressive presence that we have been seeing from Rafa and AZK so far throughout this map. Great denials, though, as every time they get outside of that base, these rails just continue to cut them off time after time again, and oh, look at that, oh my goodness, from ID, moves in, gets the slipgate kill, and then a rail frag as well, and that should pretty much solidify the round. It is going to be ID that comes out with this huge play. They've got one last attempt to steal the soul, but they deny that as well. A great rail shot from Dahong. They still are keeping this alive, actually. As long as they stay on that point and contested, it can't go up to 100%. Another denial there as Dahong hits the rail, but they've let them get the quad in the process, and that's going to be dangerous here. So many rail shots being hit from Dahong, but no kills anymore.
Yeah, Dahong's putting a lot of damage out there, but they were so close, and now the quad, again, this could swing things quite a bit.
And the guys over there at point A for Rafa's team are not that far away from 100% either. They may have just barely saved themselves. It seemed like it was all wrapped up after that slipgate rail play from Ed, but now he's going to move in, attempt to do it again. Gets a decent amount of damage off from that, but nowhere near the amount he did on the last run. They've got good control, and they're just ticking up for free now. Where's the resistance? ID's going to try to jump in, but he's alone. He's not going to be able to contest that at all. And there you go, Rafa's team with a beautiful recovery in round one. And they are going to be able to sacrifice their obelisk and take control of the first point in this map.
They had him on the ropes. I am just, what a turnaround right there, especially after the slipgate frag, the slipgate rail, and that combo. I really thought they were going to pull that win out there. And, you know, you got to give Team Liquid over there, AZK and Rafa, they did a good job of delaying that last percentage. The next quad came up, they got the quad, and it totally turned the match.
Well, we're into round two now, so let's take a look and see if Rafa's team can remain undefeated, or if Dahong's team is going to be able to push through, claim themselves around. Working, of course, Dahong playing with id and their two additional players, and then Rafa with AZK. Moment orb going into the control of AZK's team, so they're going to get their choice. Still pretty much keeping it to the same choices, though it seems like both teams are in agreement on the sites that they'd like to take control of. However, orb did just go down to the ground, so Dahong's going to steal it, and Dahang is not going to want to try and take it back over towards the other obelisk, though. He chooses to just pick the closer one, so they're going to actually change up the dynamic a little bit and now take control of obelisk A instead of continuing to fight for the one that they preferred in the last round over towards B.
Yeah, I'm pretty, in my opinion, I think the more advantageous one is the one by the heavy armor over there on that side of the map. I just think it's a little easier to defend, and I like the idea when the power-up is spawning, you can come from that side of the map where you're kind of coming down on the ramp and you have that high position.
Well, that soul unfortunately is not going to last very long in the hands of Dahang's team. They're going to steal it away, but look at this resistance immediately rolling back in from ID and Dahang itself. They manage to move in, they get that soul back under their control, and they're continuing to fight. Here's the thing, though, ID may not want to do that as he's completely overwhelmed. And in doing that, I think he actually hands the soul back over to Rafa's team.
So what they try to pull off here. I mean, the last game was razor close.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious now with the obelisk being swapped, right? The positions being swapped, if anything changes.
Dahang, along with ID, tried to push their team in just a few seconds after the soul got placed onto the B obelisk, but as you can see, that assault did not go anywhere quick, and now the worst part about it is in trying to do that right before the power-up spawn, they've essentially given it into the hands of Rafa's team for free, so that's just another advantage going into their favor, as they're going to be able to easily recover their percentage and now tie up and actually pass what their opponents have managed to gather so far.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, during that power-up spawn, you really need to kind of put the soul as a secondary objective, because it's just such a game changer to get a quad or a protection. As we saw in the last round, it totally swung that round.
And there's Dahang again moving in with that charge. He manages to pick up one kill there and gets himself onto the obelisk. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to successfully steal the soul away just yet, but ID is going to help out. We saw this before too. ID coming in a little bit late, able to assist a tad. And now, as we saw, the soul got tossed onto the ground. Dahang, tried to move in, push and get control of that soul, but unfortunately, it got stolen away at the last moment there by Rafa, so they were able to take it, and now it's gone back over here onto Obelisk B, and the Dahang's team is going to be without soul once again.
It was a little unfortunate, you know, he went to throw, you saw his teammate right there, but just Rafa was also right there and came in with a little interception.
Oh, ID manages to get himself this soul, but similarly to before, he does not have the health to actually run away with it after actually fighting on his opponent's obelisk itself. So he just tosses that off to a teammate. And I think he's going to be able to get a relatively free run. Nice attempt from ID to read into it. Almost gets that mid-air rocket, but misses it right at the end. However, that player does manage to get himself the full armor kit, and AZK, nice shot on the fadeaway, takes down ID, and now he's going to be able to hop right in here and just try to steal this soul away once again. He wants to take out his opponent first, though, and he succeeds in doing that, so goodbye to the Hang, and that is going to be that site going out to control their team.
That was excellent play by AZK. He just closed distance, recognized, you know, he had a better stack, and he just put him in a position where the rocket launcher was going to be very effective.
Well, AZK continuing to fight. We saw how powerful he was back in the last map, but he's trying to do that same amount of effort here again. Staying alive through thick and thin, just 25 HP left over after that last fight. Now he needs to chase down this quad player there who also manages to take control of the soul and is running it to the other side of the map here too. Rael's continuing to move out and hit, but not getting the kill. It's actually going to be the Hang that moves in, picks up the double here. Finishes off both of the pros that try to chase down the soul over there. But the Hang's team could try to get a little bit of power moving in their favor, and there we go. Nicely done. ID, I think, actually denying the attempt to slipgate out of harm's way. Didn't activate it quickly enough there, so he's able to eliminate one more player before he ends up finally getting knocked out.
Yeah, Scaleberry, you got to be really careful about that charge. It does a lot of damage when he gets moving, especially if you're one of the lighter characters, or even the medium characters as you saw right there. He just took that Ranger out.
They're not able to get themselves onto this point just yet. Hank continues to pick up kills with this charge, though, as the soul's in the open, not under the control of either team currently, as it goes down onto the ground, but with Rafa hitting that rail there, he is going to be able to steal it away. Joe's got himself quite a bit of armor to pick up here, but unfortunately he's also maxed out on 1v1, hitting some nice shots, though, and he's going to be able to retreat, keeping himself alive here as he attempts to get control, better control, I should say, of the orb and just keep himself alive so that he can push for it. It's not really something he can do right now, so he'll get knocked out. And the Hang's team is going to steal the orb yet again as they try to swing it over towards the other site.
You know, overall, these encounters seem very evenly matched in terms of the combat aspect of it. Whoever gets these power-ups, the quad protection power-up, and works together is really going to pull this out. As we saw last round, it was razor close.
The Hang and ID's time is running low, however, 80% on that B obelisk under the control now of Rafa and AZK. So they need to move in here. They've stolen it again, but they can't get outside of this site. It's been so well defended by Rafa and AZK's team. Finally, ID is going to be able to sneak out from underneath, but he may be facing some trouble directly up on top. Speaking of which, there's that trouble. The rails from Rafa continue to impress as he knocks out the Soul Runner and now can just steal it away and run it back over towards B for himself and the rest of his team.
Yeah, he knew he was in a tough spot there, running underneath, and with Rafa on his flank there, he was just in a bad spot.
The protection going under the control of their opponents, they at least have that going for them. Rafa is going to have to use his invisibility, but he gets right behind his opponent and gets some mass damage. It doesn't matter, though. His Hang has that protection power up, and that's boosting up his ability to stay alive by so much here, and it's allowing them to keep that soul on the point. Hang, though, now moving in, tries to steal the soul, but just can't get it done. And with 95% here, just a few more to go, it is looking likely that we'll have that second round claimed by Rafa's team, and they are indeed going to remain undefeated as they now take a third map 2-0.
Nobody can seem to beat Rafa today.
Was so close for the Hang's team on that first round there. They were just seconds away from being able to take it, especially the highlight of that map had to be the slip gate into the rail play that we saw from ID, and that almost won them the first round, but at the end of the day, Rafa and AZK roll in just in the nick of time. They're able to delay that obelisk from going up to 100% for a good, almost like 15 seconds there before they finally actually get the soul off of the obelisk itself and run it over to their base, but they recover from a 20% deficit and still manage to recover and actually win out that first round and then follow through on the second round too.
Yeah, just like you said, I thought they had that round in the bag. After the slip game, I was like, that's amazing. I thought he clinched it, but they did a great job delaying. It just so happened the quad was coming up again, so they stole it after the delay, got the quad, and it swung the match completely in their favor. I mean, I thought it was over. I thought we were going to go to maybe three rounds this time.
Yeah,
but they seem to be a tough nut to crack. I said you got Rafa, so you got the world champ, and AZK is running around doing damage. But when you look at the matches overall, they were pretty darn close. and just great shooting, great shooting. Some of the rails we were witnessing, it's just, I mean, they didn't have the camera on over here, but I'm just over here going like, wow. Some of these shots they were hitting were just amazing, amazing shots.
Especially from Rafa there too. Right at the end, we saw him hitting so many just back to back to back over and over again, and denying the soul from running. Like it all for most of that second round, we only saw the orb go like halfway across the map. It was always either Rafa or AZK able to move in with the rail and just completely deny the attempt to run the orb over to the other obelisk. They were so great at that, just getting that thing onto the ground and then retrieving it, sending it back over to their point instead, so that they could cleanly take control of that second round and not have to worry about playing on a third one.
Yeah, and I felt, you know, the hang was, he was hitting those rails, like you said. We see him, it's like, go on the streaks, but there were no frags. He just, you know what I mean? He was putting out all that damage, and it was like, no frags. And that must have been a little disappointing for him, you know, because he really hit. Oh, he went on a streak. It seemed like he couldn't miss.
And that falls back to, we didn't get to take too great of a look because of the way that things tend to play out there. We didn't get to take too great of a look at how exactly the control among like the bigger power-ups and whatnot were going, but it seemed definitely like Rafa's team had that going for themselves. They always had the full armor to their control, the mega health as well, and that definitely helped their cases. That also comes into play, like we saw earlier on Duel, that also comes into play here on Sacrifice as well. It does look like we have a little bit of a wrap-up ready on the stage, though, so let's send it over there.
We have a pro player from Team Liquid, The Hang, out here.
How's it going?
Some excellent matches you just played. I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So let's talk about champion composition and how it plays a role in Sacrifice. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think it'll become in the future?
It's still really early, to be honest, so I don't know how it's going to evolve, but it plays to certain people's strengths and weaknesses. For me, like, I'm more of a map control item oriented player, not so much a speedster or aimer. So maybe like Sorlag, you know, spitting on an armor, spitting on where the soul or the quad's going to spawn. That's something that like benefits me. But then, you know, some players with a CPM background, Anarchy, would benefit them. So it's still really early, but I think it's good to be pretty well-rounded and at least be very strong on a few at a minimum.
Have you seen any of the pro players lean towards more tankier champions or lighter champion compositions? Tell us your thoughts there.
I mean, it's still so early, and it looks like everyone's playing a little bit of everything. Like, I mean, I'm playing Sorlag, Scalebearer, but then I'll play Slash, you know, the non-tanky heroes too. So it's just so early. I don't know how it's going to evolve.
Oh, awesome. Well, one thing that's new to Quake is the ability to throw the object, throw the soul.
Yeah.
What are your take on that, and how do you think that'll enhance strategy going forward?
Yeah, that's a whole new dynamic. You need to have, you don't want to have 4 people like literally on top of the obelisk fighting for it, because then you're just going to get choked out by the enemies respawning. So yeah, you're going to want maybe 1 or 2 in an ideal push on the obelisk, and then you can throw the soul once you've capped it to your teammates, you know, down the road. If you got 2 of your teammates in the distance at certain key choke points. So it's definitely a new dynamic, and the ability to throw, it's a pretty far distance too. There's also the ability to actually intercept it too. Yeah. So that's something you gotta like watch out for. You can't just throw it, like panic throw, because it might be intercepted and it could shut down the entire push.
Well, great. Thanks for your thoughts. We'll head back.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
We weren't born champions. We're made. Made better. Made faster. Made deadlier. With every single match. We don't just play. We compete. We achieve. We rise. We won't stop until we're the best. Until we are Quake champions.
Coming at you. I am unstoppable.
Juice it up, baby. Did you see that?
What's the matter? Lose something? You'll regret that.
Shield on. Give 'em hell.
Try to keep up.
Who's next? You done messed up now.
I'm coming for you, goddamn weirdos. None of you gets out alive.
It all comes down to this. Every match, every frag, every victory. More than 20 years in the making, the original esport returns. Announcing the Quake World Championships, August 26th at QuakeCon in Dallas, Texas. Competitors will face off in the ultimate esports arena to win their share of $1 million. And the one thing every champion seeks. Legacy. Play the beta now and get ready for the Quake World Championships. Visit Quake.com to learn more.
They won't find all your pieces. Have a taste. I will feast on your bones. I do so enjoy the slaughter.
Let's go, you sons of bitches. Weapons hot. Catch. Boom. I love the smell of gunpowder. In the air. Your friends are gonna have a hard time peeling you off the wall. Coming at you. Burn. You can't keep me from getting home.
Time to turn it up to 11! That was brutal! Juice it up, baby! Feeling good, man! Look out below! It is getting messy here! Coming through! Going strong and flying high, bro!
for my perfection. Shield on. You cannot penetrate my defenses. Wrecked. Learn to fight, mortal. I'll grease my gears with your blood. Pitiful humans, you will all die. The machines of the future are here.
Kneel and beg for forgiveness. The gods do not smile upon you. My powers make me unstoppable. Strike down the unbelievers. May the power heal you. Brilliant. Is that all you got? I will harvest your soul. Even the devil fears me.
Look to the shadows. That's where I'll be. Face it! Shadows hide me. That's another one down. They won't even see me coming.
So Quake is a first-person shooter that sort of has, historically, its earliest iterations defined the genre.
It's a first-person shooter where you're inside of a virtual arena of some kind with other people. You pick up guns, you pick up power-ups, you pick up armor, and you try to eliminate the other player or players or accomplish certain goals like capture a flag or defend a certain point.
It is just faster. It is more demanding physically and mentally to reach the highest level of play because there are more layers to this game than basically any other game.
I can remember the first time seeing somebody play a game like Wolfenstein, thinking to myself, hey, this is a different plane than I'm used to. I came from a 2D platformer background and thinking this is the future.
It was the first-person shooter that actually enabled mouse look.
Before, people would aim with a keyboard with a button to aim up and down and to aim left and right. But with the mouse came precision. You could aim precisely and very quickly, and you can do 360s and 180 turns, and a mouse allows complete freedom of expression.
It's been really interesting to see how the ESL staff has responded to being invited into the earlier versions of the game.
I can say, you know, from a personal level, that the game plays fantastically.
The movement feels really crisp. It feels a lot like Quake 3 Arena. All the old favorites, rocket launcher, railgun, even the nail gun at times, feel incredible. So it feels like this real return to the greatest thing that ever happened to me in the form of Quake Champions.
It feels like they've very much gone back to the drawing board and just tried to come up with a newer, fresher version of all of the best parts of the Quake legacy all combined into one game.
To me personally, on a professional level and on a personal level, Quake is home. So I could not be happier that ESL is working with id Software on Quake Champions.
This is the first Quake game to come out in a really long time, and it's super exciting to have ESL so closely involved with id Software working on a Quake title.
As ESL, we see this opportunity to work together with Quake and id as the stuff of dreams. It means something to everybody here. This is absolutely the granddaddy of the esports shooter world.
The grandfather. It's what helped build all the first-person shooters up to this point. It set the bar, and then everyone tried to beat it over and over and over. And now you have the king returning. And really, I'm just waiting to see where we set the bar with Quake Champions.
We weren't born champions. We're made. Made better. Made faster. Made deadlier. With every single match. We don't just play. We compete. We achieve. We rise. We won't stop until we're the best, until we are Quake champions. Play the beta now and get ready for the Quake World Championships. Visit Quake.com to learn more.
All right.
Let's go, you sons of bitches. Coming at you. I am unstoppable.
Juice it up, baby. Did you see that?
What's the matter? Lose something? You'll regret that.
Shield on. Give 'em hell.
Try to keep up.
Who's next? You done messed up now. I'm coming for you, goddamn weirdos. None of you gets out alive.
Play the beta now and get ready for the Quake World Championships. Visit Quake.com to learn more. It all comes down to this. Every match, every frag, every victory. More than 20 years in the making, the original esport returns. Announcing the Quake World Championships, August 26th at QuakeCon in Dallas, Texas. Competitors will face off in the ultimate esports arena to win their share of $1 million. And the one thing every champion seeks: legacy. Play the beta now and get ready for the Quake World Championships. Visit Quake.com to learn more.
Welcome back, Los Angeles, California. It's day 2 of E3 2017. This is the E3 Esports stage powered by ESL. My name is Bill Jump Carter, your resident Sherpa over the course of the next 3 days, and we've got our next segment up for you. We're gonna have the pro players taking on the developers. Now, this is gonna be quite an interesting segment because while we've had some players that may or may not have had experience on the Quake Champions and been able to play it, we've got the developers who have putting in the time, the effort, the energy, the manpower, and the years at developing Quake Champions and bringing it for your viewing pleasure. We're gonna have 3 matches set up. It's going to be the sacrifice, so don't forget, you do have to collect the soul. You've got to bring it to the obelisk, and you've got to secure that for 2.5 minutes. With only 10-minute rounds, there's bound to be lots of action and excitement. Looks like they're ready. Looks like we're ready. I hope you guys are ready at home. Let's kick it to the casters and get started.
Well, I hope we're ready because this is going to be a fun one. The devs taking on the pros, and it is always the ultimate battle. The people who make the game versus the people who claim that they're the best at it. We'll have to see how well they fare off. And I'll be getting started with that in just a few minutes. What are your thoughts on how we think this is going to end up playing out?
You know, this is going to be interesting because the devs, they obviously get all the time on the game. So there's no excuses in regards to playtime. Team Liquid, of course, is Team Liquid. But, you know, the devs have a ringer up their sleeve, if I'm not mistaken. A man by the name of John Hill, 04. So he's a former world champion in Quake. So maybe he can, you know, carry them to victory. But I think they're up against it. You got to go with the established pros in this one. You got to go with Team Liquid in the end. But maybe the devs will surprise us. I don't know. Again, they got that ringer on their side, so you got to be careful.
They may throw a curveball at us as well and try to get the pros to play on the newer map. We'll have to see. Maybe the pros haven't had as much time to play around with that one yet, so that's where they could gain the upper edge. Is obviously the devs have had plenty of time to play around on that map, having tested, I'm sure, for many hours on end before putting it in.
That would definitely be a good idea. Any edge they can get, you know, I would recommend doing it. Maybe they can, maybe they can lower the tick rate on all their computers or something, and then you know, make their game not run as good or something. I don't know. They need to do something, but. Yeah, maybe the new map will make a difference.
Yeah, we'll see if we end up getting any games on Lockbox, but for the most part, I expect us to stick to the tried and true maps so far, and you can see that as well. Team Liquid over on the left side, they will be our pros. The devs on the right, getting ready to face off against them with all of their march ready to rock and roll as well. They're a little coordinated there. Liquid's looking a little bit more prepared though. They've got the hats and everything going.
Yeah, they're going to take this seriously. They know John very well over there, 04 on the other side. So, and I'm sure these devs, don't let them fool you. You know, these guys got a little Quake experience. They know how to play. I'm sure maybe they got, like you said, they got some strategic tricks up their sleeve, and the new map will definitely.
It's a lot on the line for these types of matchups. We've seen these plenty of times in other games as well. It's always the true test. How can the devs stack up? How well can they actually frag out in the game? So it's a big test for them, and we'll have to see how things play. Well, once again, for those of you that are either just tuning into the stream now or walking by and haven't had a chance to check out Quake Champions yet, this is the new mode that's been added to the game, and it's very interesting in the way that it plays out. It starts off basically neutral in a team deathmatch sort of fashion with players going around the map trying to get as much control as possible. 15 seconds into the round, the soul will spawn, and it's essentially just an orb that you go and pick up. At that point, you have to take it to one of 2 obelisks on either side of the map that start off neutral. So if you get the soul to start off, actually get to pick which side you want to play for and ultimately defend, as after you take your soul into the obelisk, you have to hold it there for a period of time, stacking up to 100%, at which point your obelisk becomes sacrificed and you'll win that round from there. You need to do that 2 times in a row, or just twice, I should say, not necessarily in a row, in order to win the match in a best of 3 set. But we're going into it now, so let's take a look and see how well the devs face off against Team Liquid. Starting it right off here, it is going to be looking like the devs will be able to take control of the soul. Are they going to be able to get it back over into the obelisk? It's looking like they shall. So devs will claim the first obelisk, and they're going to get their choice at it. Here's the problem, though, is they now need to be able to hold on to that one, as this is where the pros may end up coming out on top, as they've got that extra fragging power to play with And I'm sure that they've been practicing for just this occasion.
Yeah, now, you know, as we saw in the previous matches, you know, the Hang was hitting some amazing shots. I see now they're all on the same team, so look out. You know, these guys just hit amazing shots all the time.
So with having control, oh my goodness, the pros actually have that obelisk under their control now, and we can see some of the other guys trying to move in to get it back under their wing. The problem is, though, is that there's so much defense being set up at the moment by the pros. They've taken that bridge, they have the rails over here as well. They're trying their best to defend the rails. A few of them getting knocked off the bridges. They don't have as strong of a position anymore, and this is the perfect opportunity for the devs to be able to move in and try to steal it away. And look at this over here as well. In the back lanes, the Hang has already got himself in advanced position, and 3 of those players from Team Liquid just jumping onto the developer, trying to run away with the soul itself. Not able to make it out just yet. It actually looks like they finally recovered it and they're getting away with it, but now they need to actually chase this thing over into the side as they just cannot get it out of this shotgun hallway.
Yeah, that, you know, down in that LG corridor area, you know, there's not a whole lot of room to maneuver. You can really get lined up with some shots down there.
This entire steps, all the steps in this, the shotgun hall has just become a slaughterhouse, it seems, as the devs can't seem to get themselves into it. Well, now we are going to see the pros moving out into the open, though, as Team Liquid is going to want to go for this power, and it's a quad, too. That's a big pickup for these guys if they're able to get it, and they claim it. No problems at all, as they're continuing just to stack up the numbers on their obelisk, already well past 60%.
Yeah, you're seeing some good Team Liquid coordination right now. It's the way they're fighting together and controlling the major areas. You can really just see that coordinated effort of, you know, shooting at the same targets, being in the same areas, and just supporting your teammates.
Already up past 75%. ID with a nice combo there. Unfortunately, his opponent was racked up, so he's not able to get that full kill. The quad coming back over to the point, though, and just destroying 3 players in a row as the devs once again try to steal that soul, but they can't get it off the obelisk. I don't think they've been able to get it past that hallway once after stealing it from before. So that's been the only time that they actually took it away. And now they're going to try to do it again. But every single dev that ends up going on to that point is just getting ripped apart time after time. Again, they finally got it off, but that was a clutch toss as well. Not exactly sure who did that, but at least got some distance away from it. Problem is now they're going to try to just throw it right back onto their obelisk here. And actually, no, they get away with it a little bit further, but ultimately it's retrieved by Team Liquid. And they're taking it back over to their obelisk, where if they hold it here, they'll win this round.
Yeah, you can just see the combat advantage Team Liquid has. I mean, these battles, they are just melting their opponents. You can tell the devs are a little overmatched at this point. Maybe they want to bust out that new map sooner rather than later.
While only 1 round's gone, there's still 1 more round to go in this map, of course, as Team Liquid holds the advantage here over the developers, but maybe the devs are going to be able to sit back, take a moment to themselves in between these rounds and figure out just what went wrong there and now try to counter it out heading into round 2.
Yeah, maybe try changing their champion makeup a little bit, maybe get a little tankier, more things to disrupt the point, you know, more Sorlag, acid spit, and anything that can just get Team Liquid off that point.
From it now are going to be trying to push forward, and they're focusing on trying to get control over the soul early on here. Sponge tossing it away, but he's taken down by Rafa, so it'll go back into control of the pros for right now. Still a bit of a heated battle currently, but it's looking like the pros are going to get away with it, and yet another player gets knocked out by ID as they take it away, and the pros do indeed go for the other obelisk this time as they're going to take it towards the other side of the map.
You know, we were watching in the previous game, all the Team Liquid players on both sides were hitting amazing rail shots, and now you just see when they're all together, Team Liquid hold, and they're just shooting at these guys. You just see rail shots coming in from everywhere, and they're just dead, just like that. I mean, come on.
Hang is going on an absolute rampage there, picking up as many kills as he did. But it looks like finally we have the developers getting a few percentage points up onto the board in their obelisk. The first time so far in this match, but they don't last very long as Rafa, along with the rest of Team Liquid, move in here as a team unit and just destroy the entire defense that's been put back up. Now they're going to throw that soul away, giving Rafa a little bit more room as they give it to that faster champion so they can run it over to the other side of the map just a little bit quicker and start racking back up their own points.
Yeah, you can see some of that strategy, passing that soul over to the Anarchy, who can really just move.
A nice lineup from ID as well, just throwing the soul onto the point, lighting up one of his opponents, but taken down by 0-4 right before he can get himself that extra health pickup. A little bit of light, unfortunately, I think Hang denies 0-4 any additional kills just a few seconds later, and nicely done with the rails. The double rail combo destroys the Galena that was trying to push back into the site there on her own. So ultimately, the pros retake control, and they're just now over a third of their way there to victory in claiming this second round.
Yeah,
quad spawn too.
Team Liquid looking really strong right now.
as they've been able to get now their second power-up control so far in this match. Coming up on 50% too. It's looking like Rafa just wants to frag out. He's got the rail, patiently waits for 0-4 to round the corner, and says goodbye to him as he gets the one-shot kill now with the upgraded damage. Devs are going to be able to steal the soul, but not for very long, as again, Rafa now with that quad damage moving in, doing so much of it and ready to do even more too as his time is running low. Wants to pick up as many kills as possible. Ends up, I believe, with about 3 or 4 after the power has finally expired, but he's still ready to fight as more and more of these players from id try to push their way over onto the Obelisk, but they just can't get it done, and the pros are remaining too strong.
Yeah, it was some good, oh my goodness, that's just some good showmanship by Rafa right now with that railgun. I mean, even with the quad, I mean, he's just pulling out some highlight reel stuff.
Rafa continuing to just completely destroy anyone that challenges him while he's got the rails in his hand. But now the Devs able to steal it away for a few moments here, but it's rolling right back over towards the site. They didn't miss the toss, so it's still in the open for a few moments, but that'll get corrected immediately. 0-4 finds himself at least one frag here. Hong immediately cutting off the reinforcements, and 0-4 had already gone down. There's no one left there currently contest it, but that's going to change relatively quickly. They're on the point. They'll steal the soul. They lose 0-4 in the process, but now they're trying to run, getting this soul out of here and trying to send it over to the other side so they can prevent ultimate victory at the hands of the pros here. They still have a lot of ground to make up here, and ultimately they don't actually succeed in running it back all the way, so the pros just get the soul back under their sight, and now they're 2% away from claiming round number 2. It's looking like it, ladies and gentlemen. The pros will indeed dominate here on this first map, and they're going to take control of the map 2-0.
That was just simply a slaughterhouse.
A little bit of trash talk at the end there, too, from one of our devs. He said he was ready to start playing now.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like it. So he's going to try now.
Yeah, that was just the warm-up map, apparently.
Warm-up. Okay, it's the warm-up. But yeah, that was a serious trouncing. And in the scoreboard, you can see all of Team Liquid and positive kill-death ratio. Every dev was negative. They got all the power-ups. They were controlling the important spots on the map in terms of taking high ground, and man, they just look strong.
I think they were 3 for 3 on power-up spawns. I mean, for the most part, they were able to control most of the armor and health pickups as well, and just in terms of overall fragging power, they just unfortunately gave the guys from mid no chance, it seemed like there. So now they're going to have to hope that they can come back on some of these other maps. Just call that one a weak map is what they're doing right now. So now they got to step up to that talk on maps number 2 and 3 potentially.
Yeah, they definitely got to get some of those heavy armor, some of those mega healths. I don't know how, because they're having that combat issue, you know. So they're just getting out fragged, and then of course they're just getting outplayed right now. That's what's going on. So they need to. Hopefully they have a trick up their sleeve. They really do. Or maybe the dev maybe he was right. Maybe they're just kind of sandbagging a little bit, giving Team Liquid a false sense of confidence, and they're going to come back hard now.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see, of course, as we do have more action to come and plenty more even beyond this, as the day is still only just getting started here from the E3 Esports Zone. We have plenty more Quake action to come. Be sure to stick with us, whether you're here at the convention or live watching us from home. And be sure to get yourself ready if you're already a Quake Champions player for the Quake World Championships that was just announced on Sunday evening during the Bethesda press conference. A $1 million Quake tournament to kick off Quake Champions Esports, and it's going to be all done from QuakeCon in just a few months. Sign-ups for the qualifiers are, I believe, open now, and their qualifiers themselves are starting in only just a few weeks, so be sure to head over to the ESL website where you can find more information right here down below as to how you can sign up for that. And if you're not already playing Quake, what are you doing? Head over to Quake.com right now and sign up for the betas. It's open all the time. Starting just a few days ago, they opened it up for everyone, and it's open up all the time now, so you want to make sure you get in and get yourself ready for the Quake World Championship coming up, starting its qualification run in just a few weeks.
That's right, players. Hey, skills pay the bills in this game, and with the $1 million tournament coming up, it's definitely going to pay some bills if you're really good. Like I said, I think I got to go practice.
Well, there's still some matches to be casted, so we can't let you go just yet. However, if you were playing Quake Champions before, but you haven't had time to delve into it recently, there's another update that was also applied last Sunday, which added quite a few new things. We had a new weapon added, a new champion. BJ Blazkowicz is coming in from the Wolfenstein universe, and he has quite a powerful toolkit at his disposal to use in Quake, including the dual-wield active ability, which, as we already saw in some of our earlier matches, can prove to be quite powerful depending on the weapon you use with it. Not only that, but 3 new maps added as well. Some of the older ones coming back from some of the previous versions of Quake and getting a little bit of a rehash for Quake Champions, along with some new ones to be used in Sacrifice and others for Duel as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to the new maps. I really haven't had a whole chance to, I've been here at the event, and we're just enjoying watching. So I can't wait to get back to my own PC and start playing Quake. Trying to, not for the tournament, but I like to get better. I'm a little old school. I like to get better just for bragging rights, you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward. Gotta be able to talk a little trash. It's good, But I'm looking forward for the new maps, the new weapon, the Tri-Bolt looks very interesting. Like I said, over the long term, you see the pros playing with it more and more because it's still new right now. You're going to see probably some crazy things come out later from these guys.
Absolutely, and we still have quite a few more show matches in our 1v1 format to showcase as well. New dual mode coming into the play, and we've seen already some of the intense matches that can happen with that. But that's more to come later as we're back to our devs versus pros segment here. The pros being represented by Team Liquid, and of course the devs coming in for mid. Not the best showing on our first map, so we have to hope now going into the second one that they'll put up a little bit of a better fight.
Yeah, they're going to have to make an adjustment. Like I said, I don't know. They can have somebody over there. Like I said, I think unplugging Team Liquid's mice during the middle of the match probably be the best chance. But that's just my opinion.
A little switch hidden under the table. Just cut to the USB connections.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, like I said, maybe the new map will help them out. Just the Team Liquid really hasn't seen it. The devs obviously have. So maybe they have some strategy they can do to throw that team off.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. You can see it on some of the players' screens if you caught it. They are selecting their champions now to start off the map anyway, and then we'll jump back into it. So there's going to be no limitation on the switches, so it's just about the way you want to play to start things off here. We've already seen quite a bit of experimentation with the way things have gone. Not a whole lot of synergy in trying to use active abilities together just yet, but the players themselves have still had some creative uses for the active abilities, specifically on Scale Bearer. We saw, I think it was Dahong that was doing quite a bit of work with it in one or two of our matches ago, and was just racking up kill after kill after kill with that bull rush, using it at opportune moments, especially to deny opponents trying to run the soul to the other side of the map to his opponent's obelisk.
Personally, for me, the Scale Bearer charge is one of the funnest abilities in the game. I love that ability. Something about getting that charge kill is so satisfying. It really is. It brings a smile to my face. That's one of the things I love about this game. You can have so much fun with the different playstyles of different champions and their abilities. I mean, I catch myself laughing while playing all the time. Yeah. It's just so much fun. I'm just having a blast.
Get yourself going on a streak of like 2 or 3 kills back to back. It just feels good, man. Feels good to play. And it's good to have Quake back in that sort of fashion. So, just waiting, I think, for the players to load in, and then we'll be jumping into this match and seeing how things go. Devs getting themselves ready. They're just relaxing, though. That's the thing. They need to pump themselves up a little bit. They need a little bit of hype or something.
Yeah, maybe they need to stretch or limber up a little bit, drink a Red Bull. I don't know. They need to get something going over here. Maybe a cup of coffee.
Like your casual gaming session on Saturday night right now, not a test against the pros that have been playing your game for the last 2 or 3 months now.
Maybe a little trash talk. Try to get in Team Liquid's head. Just
maybe we saw a little bit of that earlier in the text chat, so maybe we have more of that going on. We just can't see it yet, so we'll have to see if we can check that out in a little bit. But we have a bit of a crowd out here too. I'm sure you guys may be able to give a little bit of courage to the developers if they start falling behind again. They need a little bit of cheers here or there, maybe.
Definitely, man. Yeah, the
devs, guys, we can improve that, I think. Let's hear some noise. Let's make some noise. Let's see if we can see the developers able to take a match versus Team Liquid here. Let's hear it, guys. Oh, there we go. A little bit better.
There we go. I don't know. I don't think they have a lot of faith in the devs.
Yeah, they're thinking on a logical path like us here. They realize it may be impossible, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, Team Liquid, the pros, of course, have been showing up here, and just the matches between these teammates have been intense in themselves. We were seeing them earlier. Some of the games, specifically the ID versus Rafa one, ended up being really intense. If you managed to miss that one, I would encourage you to head back into the VOD or look for VODs later on and try to see if you can catch that one. There was definitely some cool moments. But we're finally heading into game, folks, so let's take a look at it as we're heading into our second map now, and we'll see if the devs from mid have any better luck this time on taking down Team Liquid. And immediately, one of our devs is going to find himself somewhat cornered. He managed to move in, get himself the full armor pickup, but it's already gone, and now he's basically lost all of his armor. As we can see, getting into the fight immediately, the pros are able to pick themselves up the soul, but they don't hold it for very long, as there's a bit of a back-and-forth battle in the middle there to control it. Right now, neither team ends up on top with it, but at the end of the day, Point B goes under the control, I believe, of Team Liquid here now, and they're going to be able to try and use that and stack themselves up at the start.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there was a clutch sighting over there. I think maybe Team Liquid's going with clutch for maybe a little shield advantage.
But a little bit of fun with that. We'll have to see. The pros, though, still trying to push their way over towards this site. This site has much more limited access compared to the other one.